Yeah, I definitely die. I think I'm dead. No, I
Look, honey, I'm flying, I'm dead.
You are listening to the Bomb Hole.
Bomb Hole Podcast.
It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody.
The Bomb Hole.
We're gonna slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
Okay, here we go again. Another episode of the Bomb Hole coming at you guys, presented by Solomon Snowboards. Now, Stony Buds, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, dog. You know, if I was a brand, I would make a burgundy snowboard because that's going to be a hot ticket.
Oh, like a burgundy, just the model is called the burgundy snowboard?
Or just a burgundy colored board.
Oh, yeah. Genius.
Right?
Well, this week we have Sammy and her mom, Jill Perkins, in the booth today.
Glad I had the headphones on for that one. I needed that, really. Now I'm really excited. I really needed it.
Yeah, we got Jill Perkins in the booth. I searched high and low on YouTube to try to find that Migos Perky sample. Perky! Because every time they talk about Percocets, they say that. It makes me think of Jill Perkins. I don't know, maybe you could incorporate it to your video part.
I don't know if you know
Love
that.
that.
Whenever we're
Love
listening to Migos, we hear that and we're like, Jill.
Well, I guess they're kind of a hot ticket. They've kind of been a hot ticket lately. I don't know.
So let's just get right into some good shit. Off camera earlier, we were talking about worst trend in snowboarding. What is it?
The fanny pack bag. The impractical fanny pack bag. Impractical. Like just slinging around, sloshing around your body, kind of like restricting on the neck maybe. Just
if you don't smoke weed, what's in those
like
things?
Actually, if somebody wants to let me know what you put in there, you let me know.
Yeah, leave a message
in
the
open
DM.
Yeah. I am willing to, the two sides of every story. I want to hear what's in the bag. Tell me what's in the bag.
I think it's exclusively for weed smokers. I think that if you don't, you got nothing else to put in there. That's my 2 cents. Or
fair,
like grandparents and stuff.
Maybe
like that.
$10,000 cash.
It could be.
If you're slinging around $10,000 cash in the fanny pack while you're going down the mountain,
or skating.
I'm
or
okay with
you're
that.
doing.
I'm okay with that. You got 10
I just
Gs.
think there's plenty of like teens that don't even smoke weed. They're wearing them in school. You know,
I don't think there's anything in them.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Just filled with tissue paper.
Yeah.
Just an empty
Stuff
packet.
it.
Yeah.
It's like when people used to stuff their tongues in their shoes.
Oh, the double tongue.
Did you do that, Chris?
No, I didn't.
All right.
But,
what about you, Buds?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
Well, you
have
had
a really
had the
bad-
fat tongues anyways. So
Yeah,
you didn't really need
that's
the
the
stuff
thing.
on.
Back in the day, they were just kind of fat.
What would happen is somebody would cut the tongue out from the other shoe, shove it in there, and then it would fall out when they're skating, and somebody would be like, "Oh, your tongue!" All right, Jill. So how's your summer? It looks like you've been skating a lot. What the hell have you been up to?
Summer's been wild. Definitely skating a ton. Trying to be outside as much as possible, I guess. Like staying away from a lot of indoor activity. Not that I do a lot of that anyways. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in California skating. Skating here in Salt Lake has been really fun too. Good weather all around. So not much. Kind of went on like some camping trips and road trips and just staying with like the same group of people as much as possible. Yeah.
Nice. Now, for our listeners that don't know, you started snowboarding at age 17, which is extremely late by nowadays standards. Some people are actually washed up by 17. And what I wanted to get into is, what did life look like before boarding for you? What did you get into? How was your, paint a picture of your childhood upbringing a little bit.
You know, it's funny. This question cracks me up because I can like gear it towards snowboarding and it can like make sense on track. Like I'm like, oh, I skated when I was young, stopped skating when I went to middle school. Like that was lame. No girls did it. Like I would get gripe for that. And I can like say all those things, which are true, but realistically, like I played team sports. I had a good time. I had a social life in high school. I didn't think about snowboarding. I didn't think about skating. I had like lived in a suburban town, very like simple. Like it was like the things that were going on in my head were like classic high school things that were going on in my head. And that was normal. And then, senior year, I guess, I went to homecoming, I went to prom, I did all those things. I like to work out. I played team sports, but there was no like jet setting on snowboarding. It wasn't necessarily like in the back of my mind until I went my senior year. Yeah. And I had gone as a kid. Don't get me wrong.
What made you go?
So my friend Peter actually, I guess I can kind of owe it all back to him, but he was going through a hard time and he was like, hey, I'm going to go snowboarding. It was like one thing in his life that was like, oh, I'm going to go do this. Do you want to do it? Like, I know you used to skate. And like, for whatever reason, I held on to like the fact that I used to skate, even though senior year. I mean, I hadn't skated in like 10 years or something like that. So I was like, oh yeah, like I could do that. Like I'd love to go. Like I'll go with you. And so we would like go drive like 2.5 hours, like get some good talks in, and then go snowboarding. And then I like we were there, and there's like one other girl was at Mountain High, and there was one other girl there, and I was like, oh, that's kind of sick. I could do this. Like I enjoy this. And I remember saying, I was like, oh, I kind of like snowboarding because I was like, you can be cute and snowboard. Like, you don't have to be this, like, dirty, like, grungy, like, sweaty thing. Although that is literally what I am now. It's just, like, I'm sweat ball, like, all the time. And, like, and do it, and it's not, like, looked at as, like, some, like, nasty thing. And so I was like, oh, this is cool. So then I started going with him a lot, and then kind of, like, led me to where I am now, I guess, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is it true you worked at Tilly's?
Very true. I worked at Tilly's. First job. Yeah, shout out Tilly's. Full circle, actually. I was just telling Chris, next week I am going and doing a stance like promo thing at the Sandy Tilly. So, I mean, this is actually going to be out after that, but I'll be at Tilly's. And I was talking to my parents. I was like, it's so weird, like first job, and then now I'm going to like promote like a brand there and like myself.
Cool.
Yeah, it is. It is really funny, like pretty nostalgic, but yeah, I definitely worked at Tilly's 3 years strong.
When you were an employee there, did you ever think one day I'm going to be coming back here and I'm going to be doing a signing?
Hell no. I'm like, next month I'm going to be a cashier. Like,
just going through the steps.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm like, I'm a senior. I'm working 40 hours a week. Like, that, nothing can stop me now. Like,
You weren't on your Tony Robbins, like, manifest, just kind of like...
No, definitely not. I was like, I had no, like... What is Tilly's? You know, like what is that? All I cared about was the Zoomies across the mall, and I was like, we got to get better sales than the Zoomies. Like, this is what we're doing this year.
What brand has you going to Tilly's?
Stance.
That's dope.
Yeah. No, I'm hyped. I am very excited. Yeah.
They needed a new team. They wanted to put some people on the Stance, and at one point I was the only rider on the team,
Really?
solo. Oh yeah,
Respectfully
Holding
so.
the whole
and
team
they,
down.
They dropped like Sage Kotzenberg and kept me on. Shout out to Stance.
Yeah, big
which is
shout out.
really funny to me. But yeah, that's awesome.
Good to know that the Olympic gold carries so much weight over at Stance.
Oh, that's a good roast. So, and yeah, we ended up putting on Jill. You know what I'm saying?
That's what.
You couldn't be happier. Love the product. Love the socks.
Who doesn't love socks, by the way?
That's true.
You know what?
No, seriously.
Right before Christmas, you're going to want to hit them up, load up. Hey, can you send me a bunch of socks? Boom, Christmas presents. Everybody's just...
Great gifts.
That's true.
It's a
I can
great
stop
gift.
asking my parents for socks because that's like the only thing that I'm like, you won't mess this one up. This is going to be great. Need some socks.
We actually have a 2021 bomb hole sock coming out in
Do we?
about a year and a half. So
A year and a half.
you're going to want to
Hang
hold
on.
your breath for that to go.
Hang on for this
That's
ride.
what's
I don't know if that would be a year and a half. Whatever. It's like Christmas of 2021.
Like
so.
at least a full year.
Yeah,
Yep,
over a year.
yep.
Over a year. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't wait, dude.
yeah. So get ready for that one. All right. Well, what I want to get into real quick is the guest question presented by Solomon Snowboards. Here we go.
Hey, Bombhole. Hey, Jill Perkins. Nora Vasconcelos here. I have a question for Jill. If you were able to throw a perfect party, where would it be? What would it look like? And who would it be with?
Okay, well, the perfect party does exist, and we had it. We had a perfect party, and it was a field day party. Started off field day. Started off party store, getting all the supplies we needed for field day. Party shirts were a must. Glitter, you need the glitter going on, I think, for sure. I'm talking field day as in dizzy bat, long jump. We played... what's the one you shimmy under the stick? Limbo.
The
What
shimmy
is
under
that
the
one?
stick.
You shimmy under the stick.
That's a classic.
Yeah, limbo.
Yeah,
you know,
limbo.
and it was a group exercise, which team bonding very very important.
Is field day like an actual thing?
We had a group birthday this summer, and it was like 4 of my friends had a birthday, and it was, again, who would it be with? Katie Kennedy, it was her birthday. Mimi Noop, Nora Vasconcelos. We had Nicole there. Nicole Haas, it was her birthday. Steffi Luxton. It was pretty much everyone's birthday in like within a week of each other, minus Nora's. But we were like, okay, well, let's get together and like we are all, like I said, going back to the sweat ball thing, like we all like to like, I guess get down and dirty or something, like mess around or I don't know. So yeah, we were literally like at this park, grown adults looking like a fucking mess. Like, and it was funny because this was in San Diego. Kimmy Fasani was in town and she was like, oh, I was like, Kimmy, I would love to see you. And she's like, oh, let's go. Like, let's link up. And I was like, invited her field day. I'm like, here comes Kimmy, like, boss, legend, like, and here all of us are in like these weird outfits, like just not acting appropriate, probably just like, yeah, just throwing our bodies in the middle of the field. So that was a really fun day. Like acting like children, grown adults acting like children would be my favorite party. Yeah,
That sounds like a good time.
Your guys' energy when you get together just looks, it just looks like kind of
it's
contagious.
Scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
And and it's scary in a good way because it's like, you know, like people get FOMO or whatever, but I get like fun hangovers, very bad hangovers. I'm like, oh man, I really got to leave. That was so much fun. I don't want to leave my friends, like, you know, but
fun hangover.
You know,
Okay.
yeah, fun hangover. Best and worst kind of hangover, I would say. Yeah.
You know, sometimes like you look at somebody's Instagram story and you're like, damn, like they're looking like they have a lot of fun, but like really in reality, it's not that much fun. It actually seems like you guys are really having that much
so
fun.
much fun. I don't even know. I can't even put, I hope everybody gets to experience something like that, like having that much fun because it's part of life and it's important and it's a really good time, especially with really good people. You find the people and it's like they're the glue, like you find your glue and then you're like with them and then everything just kind of like makes
Probably
sense.
more about the people, I'd imagine.
For sure. Like
Yeah.
we could be doing, okay, I'll be real, 90% of the time we're not doing anything. We're like, you know, we're literally not doing anything. Like YouTube videos are queued up on the TV or something, but then, I mean, even that's fun as much as I would like to be doing something outside or something like that. Yeah.
You know what? That kind of reminds me of like a common question. People are like, oh, you're a snowboarder. Where's your favorite place to go snowboarding? I'm sure you guys have both been asked that a lot.
All the time.
And my answer is simply, it's like, it really doesn't fucking matter. It's who you're with.
Straight up.
True.
And it's like, you could go to the best place in the world. If your crew sucks ass,
Yeah.
you're not going to have fun.
Yeah. I mean, well, just recently, I think like a month ago, not even, I don't even know if I should be saying this, but we went to the Snow Dome and it was sick. And I had a great
New
time.
Jersey?
The New Jersey Snow Dome.
Sick.
And you know what? Like, they are creating a product for people there, like catered to the people who like have never been snowboarding, and like they're giving these people access to snowboarding, which is amazing. Because I mean, we all know that it is hard to go snowboarding if you don't have access, and so they're presenting that to the public, and that's amazing. The snow is actually really good. I was fully impressed. Like not icy, not too crazy, whatever. But I mean, like how much can you do in like an inside dome where it's like one lift and, you know, it's like a straight down, not very long. Like you can hike the same amount of, you can hike to the top just as fast as you could take the chairlift. But I will say, like, I was with Matt Roberge and Reed Smith and we had the best time. Like it was so much fun. And it's just about that energy and like getting out and doing something with people that you like and enjoy being around. Anything's fun.
You see a lot of people, though, riding solo with headphones.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never been one of those
flying.
people. But yeah, they seem like they're having their own fun, I
Yeah.
guess.
Singing.
Yeah,
Singing,
not really
going off the lip, taking
my
singing.
style, but you see those people.
I'll tell you, I got a gripe on that. You know what I think? I think one headphone, totally acceptable because you can
True,
you
so you can
have
hear.
one thing in the outside world, right?
Yeah.
You can kind of hear what people are saying. If you're going two headphones, loud volume, and you're just like yelling at somebody, it's a dick move. That's
Yeah.
my stance on the two headphones.
Inconsiderate. Not to mention, 90% of that time, the people with the two headphones in are in your way. You're like, get out. And
And they're not
you're
even hearing
yelling
you.
at them. You know, you're like, get out of the way. Like take a headphone out or take them both out before we take them out for you. I don't know.
And then snowboarding is one thing, and then skateboarding is a whole nother level of dickhead because that's
Yeah.
where it's like so much of skating's more social. It's like you do your trick, that was a sick back Smith, man, and then they're like they just don't even look at you, and you're like, well, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Like
You said nice trick, and they just ignore you.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you, yeah, they're always the ones in the way.
not a big fan of that move. So let's kind of run it back a little bit to the fact that learn how to snowboard when you're 17, right? What I'm wondering is, A, did you play conventional sports growing up? And B, are you naturally talented?
Yes, I played sports growing up, and in fact, I played pretty much a lot of them. I played basketball, soccer, softball, hockey. Actually, I played everything, and I enjoy all sports. I really do. But then I play maximum 3 years. I think that's like a thing for me. I don't know. And snowboarding is the one thing that has outstanded that, I guess, which I guess says something. But yeah, and I would always work really hard. and it was hard for me. If I wasn't initially good at something, it's hard for me to get attached to it, I guess. It's hard for me to keep going. But at the same time, I will end up going to a point where it's like there's like I have to either like drop everything I'm doing and work extremely hard to do it, and if I'm not like willing to do that, then I'll just like kiss it goodbye. And I've hit that point a lot with a lot of sports, like basketball, for example. I was going to play, like I played in high school and I really liked it and I was really passionate about it. And I was like, in high school, I was good at it. And then I started playing in college. My plan was, I was like, okay, I'm going to like play, like get slotted out, whatever. And then I went and I was like, oh, these people are like 6'2", and like here I am standing 5'9", like little, and like it was a whole nother ballgame. I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. Like I didn't have the will to like persevere through that. Like there was something in me that just I didn't want to do it. And so at that point in my life, I just was like, nope, that's not for me. In fact, that was right when I started snowboarding, and I think I was like, I'm not naturally good at snowboarding. Like I can go sideways with momentum, and like I get that. I've been doing that for a while. And it's something that is challenging on myself and not necessarily a team, to the point where like it's within my limits. Like I can push, like it's up to me to push through this. Like it's hard. It's hard with teams sometimes. Like it's really hard to push through limits because you deal with, and I actually deal with this with filming video parts too. Sometimes it is difficult if you're not on the same passion level with the people that you're filming with or doing things with. It becomes challenging. And I think with snowboarding is one thing where I was like, I can push myself to no end or whatever. I can push myself as hard as I can, but you can't push somebody else as hard as you can, because that's when you're going to have a problem at that point. And I think with team sports, like I played conventional sports and I loved it, but it became this thing where it was like, if I was more passionate or somebody else was more passionate, there was like kind of toxicity in that, and like that's not healthy. So I was just like, I was like, I can do this myself. And I guess that was a good transition for that.
Well, it's an interesting thing to say. There's some parallels there too, because if there can be toxicity in a snowboarding dynamic as well, totally. as it pertains to filming video parts. If you're in a van and one person's not getting along or having a good trip or radiating, so it's like snowboarding is an individual sport, but a group dynamic is mega important.
You need a crew.
Yeah.
It takes a village.
Yeah, I mean, and that even goes back to like surrounding yourself with good people, and like your friends. Because you're not going to perform. You're going to perform at your highest level with the people that you're most comfortable and having the most fun around. And I feel like that's a huge, huge thing in filming video parts, like being around people that you like love and you trust and you support and you genuinely back. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing. But yeah, team sports were going back to that, team sports were a huge part of my life, and they helped me and shaped me who I am today, and like working hard and like driving towards something and like seeing, I think also like you see, I've always been attracted to people who are really good at things, I think, and it's helped me push myself to like be better at things. And I think like within sports, like you're like, wow, that person's really good. Like, and you just like study it and you're like, how do they do that? And then you're like, you just practice. And then eventually it pays off. And it's like, unless you're giving up, it's going to pay off. Just don't give up.
Let's keep hammering on that, because that's fascinating to me. And as a spectator watching your progress every week, let's just take skateboarding, for example. The beginning of this summer, you were like, hey, I want to learn how to do 3 flips. It was actually right when COVID hit. Now I think about it. We were in the parking lot skating, like super far away from each other. But you weren't even coming close. And then now...
the tray flip. To you or the tray flip, really.
Yeah,
to the people in the tray flip, I was not close.
We just went skated 9th before this, and I will insert the clips on the screen if you're watching, but you were like lacing 3 flips, and that's no over a bump. And so like, I guess what I'm getting at is the people need to know that the amount of time and dedication that you put into your craft is huge. Like people think, oh, that person, she won women's video part of the year. She's different than I am. She's more naturally talented. No, she's not. She works harder than you. She puts in more time than you. And that's what people don't realize. Like you skate for fucking 8 hours a day, and you can 3 flip the bump. You skate for 1 hour a day, you're probably not gonna be able to 3 flip the bump.
Straight up.
So like, I don't know. You want to just dive into that for me and talk about it?
Yes, excuse me. I I wouldn't consider myself naturally talented. Like I don't know. That's why you don't see me competing, and that's why you don't see me jumping, and that's why you don't see me doing a lot of things. But the amount of time and like perseverance, I put all day, every day into basically what I do. Like and skating it transcends into snowboarding. And I feel like when I'm not snowboarding, I'm skating. And I don't know if that's a mental thing or a physical thing or what. But at the end of the day, like I set goals or like there's like something I want to learn and it drives me nuts until I get it. So like I just like practice and study and just do it over and over again. And eventually I can like look back going to the tray flip. And we were just talking about this morning. It was like, yeah, I've been trying that for 3 years, but I would try for maybe like 20 minutes and get over it and be like, oh, I'm just going to do what I'm comfortable doing because I know how to do it. And then I never progressed. And like that's a really difficult thing. And so now I'm looking at it where I'm like, I'm going to try to get comfortable doing the uncomfortable thing because I want to learn how to do that. And at the end of the day, like you come out on top in the sense of like you learn new things and you progress and it opens doors to like a bunch of other things. But I really think like, yes, putting in the hours and putting in the time is so crucial and important. And like, also like staying relevant too. Like you need to put in the hours or you're never going to progress. Like that's facts. That's, it's not, there's one thing like you can dream about it and you can think about it and, everything happens twice and you see it in your mind before you do it on your board or you do it however or whenever. But at the end of the day, it's like you have to do it. You have to practice. I think
100%. And
Yeah.
I think that the people that are really good, that from just the people we've talked to and things I've listened to and read, it's like an experience in my own life, is that the people that are exceptional, they're like thinking about it all day. They're thinking about it in their sleep. And there's times if you're obsessing about a trick and you're, digesting it in your sleep, then you can kind of wake up the next day and you're like, whoa, that works.
Totally.
But if you're thinking about other shit all the time, you're not going to be that good.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
part. Do you feel like you have that obsession?
Oh, absolutely. I will never forget, like, what was this, 2 or 3 years ago or something. It was Desiree, Mark O'Malley, and I, and maybe Holst. Was Holst there? Jeff Holst might have been there. And I was like we were in Quebec, and I was like, I want to land this back too. I never did, but I was like, I want to do this, and I want to do this. And I was trying all day, like just like hucking I didn't know. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I saw it in my head kind of, and I didn't have it articulated to the point where I can like fix what I was doing in that moment. But that night we went home and like Desiree and I are like on the kitchen floor in our socks, like doing back twos. And I was like, that is so, and I do that all the time. Like even yesterday I was hiking a little rail and instead of just like constantly hitting the rail and doing the same thing over and over again, I will like stand in the position and like tweak or like put my body in the position where it needs to be and kind of like close my eyes and settle down and feel what it feels like to be in that position, because and then it becomes familiar, and then you feel like it's normal and you feel like that's the position you should be in when you're doing the trick. And I think visualization is a huge thing. You have to have that, and the best of the best have that, and they're able to do it. And it's something that I work on so much because I'm the type of person who's just like go, 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 go. And it's for me to take a second to sit down and actually visualize it and think about it and like put it down takes days sometimes, And then you do it and you're like, oh, that's all it took, But it was funny. I don't know if this is off topic or not, but going back to like the like naturally good at it or something or whatever. Yesterday when I was hiking the rail, Max Raymer was like, oh, you did, like I was trying to do a switch front forward because I'm terrible at going switch, like so bad. And Raymer was like, you did one good one. And I looked at him and I go, that's why I film video parts, because you only have to do it once. Like you don't have to, that's it. Like, it takes one good try. And then it's up to you as a person or a snowboarder or whatever athlete to like continuously try and like get better at that and lock it in. And that takes time. But it's so easy for us to be like, you do it once, like, all right, that's in the bag. Like, let's go, let's move on. And then next year comes around and you're like, oh shit, I don't remember what I'm doing. I don't remember what am I doing? Yeah.
You must be somewhat naturally talented though, because you were basically a pro within how many years? 2 years?
I think I'm just a psychopath.
But back to
Just a
it's going
psychopath.
back to
I
what
literally
you
think
said.
I'm a psychopath.
You just
It's
went
the
psycho.
obsession.
Yeah, I was obsessed. When I moved here, I was working at PF Chang's, and I would like snowboard. I would snowboard. I would go up. I was like first chair all the time, which was really unnecessary because it doesn't feel good to fall when it's a brick outside.
Yeah.
But I would go up every day. I still continuously go up every day until I'm too sore to go up, which I could maybe not do that because it's not necessarily healthy, I don't think. But I put in the time. I would go up every day until like I'd work at 4, I'd go up till 3, I'd like rush home, shower, go to work, and then do it all again the next day. And it wasn't like and the whole time I was snowboarding, I had like motivation, and it was like I would love to just like free ride, but and I like that, and I like having fun, like cruising around the mountain and whatever. But what I really get joy out of is learning something new, and like I'll just like sit and make myself dumb trying to do something new. And I think that might have something to do with it as well. But I appreciate you guys saying that I'm talented. Yeah, thanks.
Well, the idea, I'm fascinated about some of that kind of like, it's kind of corny, but it's kind of like optimization stuff. Like how do people get from 17 to pro pretty quickly? And it's a matter of marginal gains over like small gains over a long period of time. Like your 3-flip, right? You over the course of the summer, I saw you skate earlier. You weren't even close. And I saw you, but it's because every single day you're putting in a little work and putting in all that time. And I think that's like, you can focus on little things you can do every single day and put in the time. But one other thing I wanted to talk about that I noticed the difference between like a person who's like a standout pro and somebody who's kind of trying to make it but not quite there. It's an observation that the people that have they kind of ooze confidence. Like you can see in their snowboarding, they ooze confidence. And I think that comes from spending a lot of time on your board and obsessing about it. And that's a product of that. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
No, absolutely. And it definitely is an obsession. Like but it not a bad one. Like it caters to so many things. I mean, it caters to like physical health, mental health, like just like being sane in like what you're doing. And like also like if you find something that you love, do it, chase it and do it to the best that you can do it. Like it would be a disservice for anybody to do something that they love to its not full potential. Disservice to people and yourself. I really and I think that's another thing where it's like, this is what I love to do. And even sometimes when I'm like, what am I doing? That thought crosses all of our mind. I'm like, what am I doing? Then I'm like, you do it. Then you're like, oh, this is why I do it, because I love it. I like the feeling. I like the reward. I like putting in the hard work. I like the time, and like I like the struggle, because when you overcome that, it feels so good, and you're just like, oh wow, like I am capable of doing these things, or I'm capable of doing something, and that feels nice. And I think that's important.
I got a Patreon question in lines with this.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about what our Patreon is. So I'm going to take a hot second and kind of explain it to our listener viewers. Basically, our Patreon is a subscription-based platform where you can donate as little as $5 a month. And for you guys that don't know, the podcast requires a tremendous amount of work, from all the editing, shipping, all the stuff we have to do. And we don't really have much support from our sponsors. So our Patreon members are essentially our sponsors. Like we are sponsored by the people, huh, buds?
Yes.
So basically, if you become a Patreon member, you're supporting us, and that's the whole deal. And one of the perks is you get to submit a question, which Stony Buds may select. And
I got one for you right now from Scott MacDonald.
Scott.
And kind of goes along with what we're talking about. He says, Jill, you're a legend already. So he's giving you some props here.
Thank you, Scott.
His question is, did you always have a feel for the steel? And I think he means were you kind of, is that why you chose handrails? Were you more naturally better at handrails? And did you always have a feel for the steel, or did you have to work at it extra hard? And who influenced you in your early days?
Loaded. Feel for the steel, yes, because I am a terrible jumper. I think it was honestly process of elimination. I was like, oh, this kind of works. So I was just like, I'm just going to hone in on it. And also, like with skating and stuff, like it just kind of made sense. Like I knew what a board side was. I knew what a lip side was going into it. So I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. And also, yeah, jumping I think really scared me. And I think that's why I went to the steel and like hitting rails instead. And also, I really like the style that you can have when you're doing it. And same thing within the air. Like I appreciate that so much. But I don't know what it is about like rails that I really like. And I don't know if it's like the quick reward similar to skating, where it's like you can just hike the rail 100 times, and you like learn within like 10 tries. You're like, well, I ate shit that way. Like I slipped out on my toes, I caught on my heels. Like what else can I do? Just like stay flat. You know what I mean? And it's like an easier thing to learn for me. Like I can dissect it a lot easier than like being in the air and being like, oh, I don't know what's going on. What was the second part of that?
Who influenced you in your early days 5 years ago?
Desiree definitely influenced me. Yeah, I would say like she was a huge part of a lot of things that I do to even today, like on my snowboard and such. When I first started getting into snowboarding, I actually didn't know that it was like rail stuff that I like to do. I was like Googling, I was like top female snowboarders, you know, and it was like Jamie Anderson would come up, Hannah Teeter would come up, Elena Height would come up. And actually I was just home last week and I was going through like my like old like high school, last year of high school, first year of college like box, and I had I drew a photo of Elena Height or whatever, and I remember, and Elena Height was on there, so I was just like, and I thought Elena was so sick. I still think Elena is so sick, and what she's doing now too, and I feel like she's like transforming into this like Wonder Woman and like really like honing in on her craft, and it's so sick to see. But it was just funny because like that's where I would get my like inspiration, was like Googling, because I didn't know what to Google.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
what do you do, right?
I was Googling top female snowboarders. I'm like, I don't even know, because I didn't even know the world of like street. I'm still so new to that. Like, I didn't know the world of street snowboarding existed. Like, I went to High Cascade as a senior, or the year I graduated high school, I went to High Cascade. And I didn't even know what it was. I was dating some kid whose dad worked for USASA, and he was like, oh, there's this camp. I was like, I can go into that camp, I guess. And I went, and it was it was Video Gracias, I think. I just remember Dan's part, long hair at the time. And, I was like, oh, what? This is what people, you could do this? Like, this is what people do? And I was so attracted to that lifestyle so much more than, like, the competitive, like, competition side. And don't get me wrong, full respect. Like, that shit is gnarly. Like, they can do that stuff in their sleep. And I'm like, wow, that is not my avenue. I don't know. Like, I just admire from afar, and I would love to get good at it, but it's just, like, it's terrifying to me. But yeah, I saw that and, like, had that experience at camp. And then I saw a lot of other girls at camp. And at that time, it was like right in between, like they were doing like Too Hard Jetpack stuff. And when I moved here, one of the first people I met here was Isabella Borriello, and she was like, oh, I film video parts. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what is that? And she's like, oh, you know, just like travel around and like go to places where there's snow. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. We became friends, and then I started being friends with other girls who did that here. And so they also, it was like Isabella, Nirvana, Corinne Pasella was doing it a lot too. Like Alexa McCarty, like Madison, they kind of all did that for me. Like, I think that's where I got that inspiration. And just being in Salt Lake, it's kind of hard. You can't really miss it. It's going on everywhere. I mean, you guys are everywhere. So, yeah, I feel like, I don't know where this question was going, but that's where my inspiration came from, is like seeing it done and being like, oh, that looks fun, and I can do it with my friends, and it's not this like competitive thing. Like, let's go. Like, we can just like go have fun. Yeah. And be creative. Yeah.
And make a living too.
I mean, try or die trying, you know, that's what we're all trying to do. Yeah.
She's pretty zero. She's got that zero die trying vibe going.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's dope.
There's a couple things there that I think are kind of fascinating talking about. And there's two kind of worlds in snowboarding. There's probably more, but the two prevalent ones for us, it's almost like there's a video part culture. Mm-hmm. The way you're just describing it, when you're like, I want to be a part of that. There's like video part culture, or there's kind of contest culture. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's cool. Same thing, but I've never put two and two together the way you explained it. I think that's cool. Like, you're attracted to the culture of the fact that you can have a lifestyle where you film a video part, and that whole thing's cool.
Going on trips like that too. I mean, that's a pretty rad life.
It's a storyline. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like our lives are a movie. I don't know, like straight up, but it's just like, it's so cool. You get to like travel the world and like see things that you would never get to see. I mean, I would never get to see if I wasn't filming video parts. I mean, maybe if I was competing, you would go and you'd like see the same places over and over again, because that's where the contests are held. But lately I've been trying to do this thing. If I go on a trip, I want to like reserve a day to where I can like go and not snowboard and like go see what's around. I think that's so important to like take it in. That. I try. I mean, it's definitely hard, especially within our brains. You're like driving around, you're just like, oh, like you're like looking at everything. You're like, we could do that. We can hit that. We can like, what's that? What's up with that? You're like driving down these like little streets. But I think like taking a day off to refresh the mind is like so important. And then you get to like take in the culture of where you are. And I love that shit.
There's nothing like coming home from a trip to somewhere rad and your family's like, oh, how was Helsinki? And you're like, yeah, I looked at a van.
Exactly.
I looked at rails and I don't know what Helsinki was like.
For like 3 hours
I have no idea what Finland's like.
Yeah.
I had trash piled up to my knees and I...
And I shoveled some snow.
Stomping on coffee
I don't know
cups
anything about the city at all.
Yeah.
Do you have any photos? Just action photos.
Just action.
This rail that I took, that it's covered in snow, but it's under there. I swear.
Dude, going back to like a 32 Euro tour we did back in the day, I brought my iPad. This is so fucking sad. And I had Big Buck Hunter on there. And we did like, I don't know, it was a 2-week tour all around Europe. And I don't know where the fuck I even was. We were just playing Big Buck Hunter in the back. People were like, where'd you go? I don't know. Driving through like Italian countryside, like not even looking out the window.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm glad you're realizing that early.
I'm trying to.
I did like I think it was like a 13 country Sims world tour, and we just rolled dice, and I seriously did not see one thing.
Yeah.
We met Angelina Jolie in the airport, and we were so busy with the dice game, we didn't even talk to her.
Shut the fuck up.
Tina Bassage and Tara Dakitis went off and rode down with her, and we were just like rolling dice, looking at her, and then right back to the game.
That is a heavy line.
But dude, at this
there.
point, there was thousands of dollars.
Stone just wanted to squeak that in there, like, oh yeah, we just saw Angelina Jolie. It was fine. We didn't even
Well,
care.
we blew it. I should have said what's up to her. I had a chance.
Hey, if your dice hand's hot though, you can't
That's
come off.
what's up.
You can't come off.
I was busy winning.
You're on a heater.
I won a furniture set. I came home and furnished my house after that trip.
So going back to earlier, the question about who's your inspiration, one kind of correlation I found to be super interesting is on this podcast, we do these feelers. Who should we have on the podcast, right? And I would say like yourself, Scott Stevens, Lucas Magoon.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are like top tier requested guests, and a lot of it is from men, and so I just think this is a really cool like changing the tides. Maybe it's been this way, maybe it hasn't, but a lot of times they'll be like, oh, this woman it's really good because all these other women will have somebody to look up to. And one thing that's starting to happen, I think is cool, is that like this woman is somebody for men to look up to. And that's fucking dope. I don't really know where I'm going with that.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, that is huge. That is really cool. So thank you, everybody. Seriously, like no, it's interesting, and I don't know why that happens. I don't know, I don't know, and I'm very thankful and grateful for honestly all the opportunities that life has presented itself to me, especially in snowboarding, obviously. But it's just cool to like be able to. It's just really cool to be able to inspire people. I think it's really nice, and it helps everybody and yourself, So I think it's a really big. I don't know where I'm going with this either, but I appreciate it,
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I have another thing I'd like to pivot and talk about is the fact that we go to the same gym. Mm-hmm. It's a bunch of
she goes
snowboarders.
Too.
Yep,
I did not know
pro
that.
snowboarders.
I've been going before Chris.
Oh,
yep. And I'll tell you
Don't let
what,
him confuse you.
We play knockout there. Okay, it's a game where you shoot a basketball. The person gets the basketball, and behind you, you get out. She's nice at basketball. Okay, she's a threat. She's a threat. Now, part one of the question I'll ask first. Who is the worst at knockout out of everybody at the gym?
Sage.
Is he?
No,
wow. I don't think that's true.
I don't think he's the worst at knockout, but I watch his form. Sometimes I'm like, oh, what are you doing?
I'll tell you, I'll take a cab 12 like turnkey for over a good free throw.
Yeah. I'm not saying you got to be good at basketball. You could suck ass at basketball. You do not like, it's like no. But let's go Sage or Little Jeff. I don't ever
he's
see
nice.
him. I don't ever see him shoot, but I see him out a lot.
Okay, I'll tell you who's the worst. Okay.
Yep.
Nils. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nils,
but he's like 50-50. He's not showing up all the time.
Yeah, he's not showing up all the time. Like he's throwing up air balls. Like he's like, and you know what I love?
Yeah.
I like cutting him down because let me tell you why I want to cut him down. To feel better about myself.
Yep.
Because
you got to do that sometimes.
Because sometimes you got to put somebody down to make yourself feel good.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm doing, I'm going to do that with Nils right now. So Nils, he's so good at rock climbing, and he's like he can do like 400 pull-ups, and he's just like a specimen. Okay. But he can't make a free throw, and I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, I'm also going to the part 2 of this question is
was that a question? I guess it was.
Part 1 was she didn't have the right answer. Yeah. Okay. I answered the question for her. So part 2 is I've noticed that you're very competitive when we play knockout. You do not like to get out.
No.
Now, do you think that you're a very competitive person? And do you think it affects your snowboarding in a good or negative way?
Absolutely, 100%. I am a competitive person. And I think it is a blessing and a curse, And I I think the older I get, I'm able to like hone in on where am allowed to be, where I should be competitive.
Where I'm allowed to.
Yeah, where I'm allowed to be. Like, it's a little sketchy, but no, seriously.
You know when
like,
to tone it down a little.
Yeah,
now?
I'm working on that
Yeah,
for
working
sure.
on
You
it.
know, trying to not be so reactionary, I guess. But yeah, definitely a very competitive person, but it has helped me. Like being that competitive person has helped me so much. It's helped me like get where I am. It's helped me with my drive and like dedication. But it also is like a royal mental fuck sometimes because it's unnecessary. And a lot of times you're like competitive, like me being competitive myself is toxic too. Like sometimes you just need to like chill out. Not you, but like sometimes I need to just chill out. And I think a lot of that has to do with like being overly competitive. So I think, everything good in moderation. I think competitiveness is a positive thing to have. But like I don't need to be like beating myself up if I'm getting out playing knockout in the gym with the guys. That's all I'm saying.
You do. You beat yourself up over
No,
it?
I just don't get out. No.
Yeah. So you would.
She's honestly
kidding.
raindrops from the free throw line.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just like, to be honest, it's not even that, and it's not me being competitive with them. It's me being competitive. I'm like, God damn it, if I miss this right now, I'm gonna have to go do burpees, and I hate burpees.
That's what you do when you get out.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to get down low and then jump back up. Like that's not where I want to spend my 8 o'clock morning right now. Like,
Yeah, at 8
so I'll
a.m.
just sit back and shoot the basketball the best I can.
It's good, it's almost like the first step to having a problem is admitting you have a problem. Because I am extremely competitive, right? And I would say that a lot of people that have sat in that chair are fucking uber competitive.
Yeah.
All you guys are. All you pro
if you want to be good at something at a certain point in time, you got to kind of fucking want to win. Right?
I mean, you're so competitive you didn't even like my answer, so you decided to make it
Had
your
to
own.
change the answer.
It's true. I'm a psycho, absolutely.
Yes,
but
yeah,
the thing,
we're
the
all
thing that's
psychos,
nice
yeah.
is becoming aware is that like, okay, now it's like, hey, let's play knockout. Let's put some fucking money on this, okay?
Yeah.
And let's have fun. And I'm gonna have a couple profanities when I get out, but at least I'm aware that I'm competitive and we're having
Totally.
fun, as opposed to like the quiet guy that wants to like lock himself in the back of the van and
Yeah,
like
that's bad
just
style.
like
Yeah.
and also changing gears, and an observation I have here is
Yep.
that like there's a lot of trips where men are competitive with themselves, and I've from an observation I feel like women amongst themselves are ultra competitive. Is that a fair
Yes.
observation?
I think so. I mean, I guess I can't really speak for all women, but like I definitely think that I am more hard on myself than a lot of the guys that I've snowboarded and traveled with, and like because shit just doesn't come easy. It's like I'm talking like things are taking multiple days. Like sometimes things take multiple days, and I have yet to see. I mean, that's not true. I've seen that with some dudes for sure, but I see it a lot more with women, and that in itself is like a competitive thing. Like that's like a mental fuck straight up. Like it's like I don't know. I'm so harsh on myself that I will straight up. This happens to me all the time. I'll be like strapping in and I'll be like looking at the stickers on my board and I'm like, what the fuck, Joe? Like pull yourself together. Like these people believe in you. Like believe in yourself. Like what? Like you got this. Like believe in yourself. Like these people are literally supporting you in what you do, and like you don't want to let them down. But at the end of the day, Catch-22, who are you doing it for? You doing it for you? You doing it for the brands that are supporting you? And hopefully you're doing it for you, and hopefully those brands are supporting you. So it ultimately goes back to yourself in that sense. But so competitive to where where I'm strapping in, like that's where my mind is, instead of being like, get to the end of the rail, or get to land the trick right away.
Yeah.
Like and I have to like I'll say this out loud. Like I will go nutso. Like I'll be like, right away, like don't think about the trick, think about riding away from the trick. Reed actually told me that once, and it helps so much, like because you already know how to do the trick a lot of the times. Like you're doing something that you know how to do, or you don't, but it's in your realm, so you're going to be able to do it. But like imagine yourself riding away, and the last thing you want to be doing when you're up there is like thinking like, I don't deserve this, like these people are supporting me, and like that happens more than you fucking
That's toxic
know. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, and it is, and it's hard, and then it's like the only reset for me is landing, and that's something I'm working on, because I don't want to walk away from something that I don't do and be like pissed off for days or something like that. And I do, and I'll get like really upset, and I'll get very frustrated, and I'll be like, and I'll start questioning my self-worth, and like you just like go down this hole. And I don't know, and I think, do you guys do that? Like, have you done that? Yeah. And so like I don't know if it's something you can say like, oh, that is a competitive nature, and I don't think it's necessarily just in like a female standpoint. I think it's more of like putting pressure on the individual self and being able to handle that pressure and not make it toxic for yourself. Or like that can ruin you, and it's something that needs to be like taken care of and focused on and like honed in on, because it's like you want to have a clear head when you're going. You want to be having fun. I mean, like we were saying, it's like you do your best work when you're enjoying yourself and you're having a good time. Don't be like sitting there like talking shit to yourself when you're up there. Like that's gonna just
you're only having a good time when you're landing.
Yeah, that is true. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's like a sliding scale, my friend. Like it's scary.
Multiple days on a trip is tough.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we're like fucking drug addicts essentially, because you're like,
for sure, yeah.
You get your clip, you get your dump of dopamine, and it's like
only
a high,
lasts so long.
and it only lasts so long. And then also what I'm hearing is you're talking about like expectation, like the expectations you put on yourself. What you expect out of yourself is so fucking high that your negative self-talk comes out when it doesn't align. So you're like, it's like, becoming aware that when you're 40 tries in and you miss it and you're like, I'm such a fucking asshole. Like everybody does that, right?
Yes.
That's normal. But like being aware of that, just being like, that doesn't serve me. Let me just have some positive self-talk. Yeah. Next try, I got it. Next try, I got it. You say that 400 times, and but it's hard to not go down the wormhole, men and women. But there is one other layer to this I wanted to talk about, is that I think that men have a great advantage in some senses because we're stupider, okay? And I'm going to explain why. Women are smarter because they have more self-preservation in some time. This is, I hope I don't get crucified and I'm not offending anyone. I just think that, like, we are idiot Neanderthals, okay? So, like, for example, if there's, like, a big closeout, I can just, like, make myself jump on it. It's just, like, just hollow head, just boom, And whereas, like, I think sometimes naturally the way the chemistry of a woman's mind works, they're like, this is not a smart idea, which is normal.
And that's a chemical thing that we have going on in our, like, we are literally, oh God, this is so fucked up. But like going tracking, it's like you're here to like have a baby, you're here to reproduce, and so like in your head is like you have, and this isn't something like you can like learn. I don't know if you can learn to shut it off or what, but like that is in the back of your head, and you're like, oh, like that is unsafe. Like even watching somebody watching Reed or Holst or somebody do something, I'm like tearing, I'm like freaking out internally because I'm like, yo, this is very not safe. Like this is bad.
You have no regard for
shouldn't
safety.
be doing
you
that.
shouldn't, like, I trust you, like, oh, you're so great, and you're so talented, and I trust you, but this is fucking dumb. And like, and then like, but then they do it, and I'm like, oh, thank God. And I'm like, oh, maybe I could just like if I could just turn that off sometimes. And I think I go through phases of like turning it off, risk versus reward type thing. But yeah, I think having a small brain as a male helps you guys.
Our pea brains help us.
But also having a small brain as women also can help us as well. But just stay dumb.
Stay dumb out there.
Well, there's like 3,000, I don't know how many years of like primal shit. We have monkey brains. It's not like we think we're super evolved. It's like we're just Neanderthals. I don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to get all philosophical, but that's my unscientific take.
Yeah.
I think there's something there though.
So I think we almost skipped over an important
name that video part.
Oh,
it's time.
Yep, this is going to be bad. Oh God.
Hopefully the video's not too old.
I don't even.
I would say you're displaying the least amount of confidence we've seen on
true.
any guest yet.
I got this.
What just happened?
I got this.
What?
Oh, it broke down?
Oh, I spilled water all over myself.
Water, okay.
Oh.
I thought it was coffee.
Name That Video part is presented by the Do Tour. They sponsor us. They support us. You should support them. You should check out their event. It's a great event. Stony Buds absolutely loves it.
Hell of an event.
I've been there and thoroughly enjoyed my time there. So what I was wondering is, what's your confidence level 0 through 10?
0. Like, if we can go into the negatives, we'd go there. Like I was
0.
saying, I wouldn't say I'm a student of the game. Like I'm more of like a go outside and do it. Although I wish I wasn't. I wish I could like sit back and enjoy some.
So she doesn't have a glimmer of hope.
Not a glimmer of hope. Okay. Negative if she could.
All right, here we go. You don't know it?
No.
Okay. Hey, you know what? I knew you were so horrendous at this that I got another second hint
Okay.
that I think you're gonna want to listen carefully. I'll turn it up.
Right through this hole. Just yesterday, I headbutted
I know
through this
that.
bastard.
that's Reed. But what was the like
You're
Chicago music going on?
That's his video part in the movie that you're in.
Bullshit.
Yes.
Bullshit.
Yes.
No, because the beginning of that is him jamming.
Yeah, and then that's the end of the song right before his ender. It's wailing. But we got to actually just listen to this soundbite because it's so good from Reed.
Right through this hole. Just yesterday, I headbutted through this bastard.
You were there.
That's actually where you got the cover?
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Is that what he's talking about?
yeah. Yeah.
Just
You
yesterday,
know.
I headbutted through this bastard. Great
Yeah.
quote.
The movie you were in, you didn't get. That's a
Okay.
tough one.
She did
You
get it.
know what? Yeah,
Hey,
but I know
she
his
got the
voice.
second one.
But I'm just saying, you played some like surf music, surf rock. That was
That's
his.
tough.
Well, that's his video part song. I don't know what you want to tell you.
Come on, Reed, let's get it
So,
together.
Here we go. We got an Igloo cooler, the Playmate. It's wrapped in all over bomb hole print.
It's got merch just busting out the seams.
This is an honorable mention if I've ever seen one.
You got it.
Thanks.
You said the name.
It's a
I
participation
said the name.
award.
I said the
If you
name.
didn't get that, though, I would have been definitely.
Well, yeah, that would have been bad.
That would have been bad. And inside of there, just so you guys know, we got the new Hannah Eddie T-shirt. We got
Let's give him a let's show. I mean, other than it being on Chris's chest, but
Boom.
yeah,
where is it?
It's a nice gray right
It's
there.
a nice gray.
Hannah Eddie, one of the best artists in snowboarding.
Oh yeah.
It's got bomb hole
She
blue.
killed it.
Really nice gray.
Also has a coffee mug, a hoodie, and some stickers. All available. Bombhole.com.
Thank you guys. I appreciate all
coolers.
this stuff. This great stuff. Can't
Oh,
use
yeah.
it all.
Okay, for part 2 of Name That Video part, here we freaking go. You guys know the drill. Comment on the photo of Jill on Instagram for a chance to win a prize pack. Side note on the prize pack. Prize pack is not the same prize pack that Jill gets.
It's a sticker
It's usually
pack.
a sticker pack, so I apologize if you're expecting more for the win. It's a little lackluster. Here we go.
This is the type of song she would get. That's like music she probably
Don't
listens
say it
to.
if you know
I
it.
don't. I mean, I think I do, but I'm not going to say it.
Actually, say it. We'll beep it out if you know it.
See if you know it.
Well, we'll talk about it because I think I do know, but I just need to marinate on the subject.
She
Mull it
doesn't
over.
know.
That's
I
that's
know.
like a Stony Buds answer.
No,
Buds pulls
I
that all the
do
time when he
know
doesn't
this.
know
Something I
shit.
would say. Oh, I got this. I'll just tell you later. Don't
You know
worry.
what? I've seen the part.
You've seen
I've
it?
seen it.
Well, Jill, we want to say thank you for playing Name That Video part.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's do it again. That was so much fun.
I saw some videos of you on your Instagram carpet boarding. Can you elaborate on A, is it beneficial? B, why? C, what the hell is going on
Were
there?
you riding downstairs?
Honestly, no.
Oh.
Beneficial?
Oh,
Yeah.
jumping around.
So fucking funny. This thing is so fun. Like, great thing. Like, yeah, I've been carpet boarding. Took the thing out of the box. Decided to practice a couple things. I'm not gonna lie. Went in the next day and like tried them. Like, it definitely did help me for sure.
Just practicing the moves.
Yeah. So
Muscle memory.
This like snowboard addiction makes this thing. It's a curb basically, and this like mini snowboard that has bindings, and you can just us
I saw
adults
that clip.
jumping around in the living room, I guess, on the carpet. But it is the funniest thing. Like to have your you just like laugh at your friends doing dumb shit on the curb, I guess. But also, does it help? I would say it helps like get some rotations down, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like the same thing. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I had a mucho respect because I was like, damn, Jill doesn't give a shit.
Also, that was like
By
when I
posting
did that. I did that. Okay, I did not give a shit. I was like, but also like like I was just like, this is so fucking funny. Like I was like, no one's expecting me to be carpet boarding in my basement
Did
bedroom.
you order it, or they just sent it to you, or how's that work? You ordered it.
I ordered it. Yeah.
Go.
Somebody hit me up it, and I was like, yeah. They're like, and
She ordered it.
I was like, this thing is so. Yeah, do I want that? Yep.
Yes, I
Can
want
we go?
that.
Can we go through the add to cart? Like, can you just walk us through as you're just clicking the button add to cart?
I could imagine it's something like you want the blue or the black curb? Do you want the extension? You want the high backs on the bindings or not?
That is dope.
And yeah. And then, next thing you know, it's on my doorstep and I'm just ripping the box open. I'm like, let's go.
And you and your friends were in line to use that thing.
It was just me
just
the
you,
first
okay.
night. But now it's so funny because, like, I went home the other day and, like, Amanda and Parker are, like, playing in the backyard, like, on the grass. Oh, this is actually so funny. One day, Alexa and Holst were over and Holst is out there, like, and it's, like, kind of like just the snow had just melted. So I'm like, oh, yeah, there's, like, mud in the backyard, kind of like in the grass or whatever. And Holst is out there doing it. He's like, I think this is poop. Like, I think it's poop. I think I'm board siding on poop on this plastic curb. I'm like, no. It's just, it's like, it's just dirt. Like, there's no, I clean up poop. Sammy's poop. Next thing you know, I go over, I was like, you're snowboarding on shit, dude. You literally fall. And he's like, no, it's actually kind of nice. He's just like sliding. He's like using it as like lubricant. I'm like, come on.
Good viscosity on the
shit
shit.
lube.
Yeah. Classic shit lube scenario.
So anybody wants to come over and use the shit lube tube?
The shit lube tube.
Let's go.
There might be room in the market for the shit lube.
Yeah, sell that.
Yeah.
Yeah, carpet
Good
boarding's
use for
pretty
dog
tight.
poop.
Yeah.
Recycled dog poop.
Oh, God. It wasn't that recycled. I was like Lysoling the shit out of it. I was like, literally Lysoling it. I'm like, oh, God, give me these gloves. Get this thing out of here. I don't ever want to use this. Now that I remember that thing got ran through poop, I don't even know if I'm going to pull that out this season.
I would like you to start a YouTube channel and specifically post like how-to tutorials on there. So changing gears, I wanted to run it back a little bit and talk about, when you first moved to Utah, I kind of heard a story that you basically were had like an ambassador deal with Burton, and I just wanted to see if you could paint a picture of what that ambassador deal was like and your thoughts on like women snowboard ambassadors versus riders and that whole can of worms.
Totally. Yeah, when I first moved here, actually, I was helping out at Four Horsemen. And that was an experience, and they were like the regional sales for Burton, and I was working with Josh Fisher and Chelsea Waddell and Mariah Roberts, and I wasn't employed. I was just like helping out, and it was like my version of like, I guess I'd kind of being a shop kid at the time, and where I was in that stage, and it was cool. So like I did that for a year, and then Josh was like, hey, I think you'd be really great for this like ambassador program Burton puts on. You give feedback, they give you gear, and you essentially just like communicate with them and do this. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. And that was like the first free anything that I had gotten. And so that was really cool. And I was like, okay, cool. Like Burton girls, like, let's go. Like, and I was like writing this stuff, and they pulled me out to the Burton US Open one year, and I went, and there was other ambassadors there. And when I showed up, like, I guess I just had like a different take on like what it was going to be and like my involvement, and it turned into like, okay, like it was like, okay, man the tent, like you're essentially now you're a worker, you're like manning the tent. And then it was kind of like, you're an Burton ambassador. And then all of a sudden, like these like 4 beautiful women walk in, and it's like, oh, these are the Burton ambassadors who are just models. Like, sorry, they're not just models. They're actually great people. And I really like them. And like, I learned to love them. But my initial thing was just like, yo, what is going on? Like, these aren't like, they love to snowboard. Yeah. But like they're not inspiring snowboarding. And that is my gripe about it, is that like, if you like, I think having an ambassador program is kind of important and essential, especially right now with like the way things are going from a business standpoint, but it's up to the brands and the businesses to hire the correct ambassadors and like go for those markets. So like, if you're trying to like attract like it, a pretty face only goes so far. And I might put my foot in my mouth for saying this, but like you need something to back it up. And I think that experience for me was like something that I realized, I'm like, this isn't the avenue. This isn't something that I want to be involved in really. And it went on to be like, and I remember being like, okay, this is sick. And like, I was snowboarding, and they were like supporting my snowboarding, and they were like helping me out with that. But I kind of like saw the direction that it was kind of going, and I didn't really like that. And so after the US Open, I made a comment, and I was just like, hey, like, that was really fun. Thank you so much. Like, I really like it. And I had a great time. And like, I loved the girls, and like, I still talk to them. And, but I was just like, I really want to like film, this is what I want to do. And like, I kind of like made this proposal out to them, and I was like, I would love it. Like, I back the brand. I want to do all this, and I would love it if we could like make that work somehow. And like, you know what? Timing wasn't right. And it just like didn't really work out. And like, they were just like focusing on different things, and like the ambassador program, like getting feedback and such. But honestly, I'm so happy that happened because I went home and I was like, I emailed Tanner McCarty, you know, and I like hit up Ride and I'm like, hey, I've been doing this thing and I've been helping out and I've been doing this and I really like it, but this is what I really want to do. And he was just like, cool, yeah, like let's give it a try, you know, and that was, I don't know, what was that, 4 years ago now? And I've been with Ride ever since, and it's like it's so, and I love it. So like because of that experience, I'm so happy. But going back to like having brand ambassadors, I think it is a strategic power move for sure. But I think it is up to companies and people in positions with power to make the correct decision, and that goes for everything. But ambassadors being one of like the main thing, because at the end of the day, those shoes that they are filling. They're filling shoes of athletes, and they're filling the shoes of people who like put their like blood, sweat, and tears on the line for somebody with a pretty face. That seems a little ass backwards to me, and I think it's getting better. You know, I know it's getting better for a lot of companies. It's getting better because there's people in like our generations and the generation directly above who kind of have like seen it all and like see how it all happened, and they're kind of like now becoming the people in the positions where they can make the decisions against or for that. And I think people are so aware of it now that like brands can't afford to make that decision anymore. Like people see through that now, and I just think it's an interesting thing because I don't know. I appreciate that because it's cool to see that people within the positions of power are making the correct decisions like across the board. But you know, to counter like play devil's advocate on my own standpoint, I know a lot of girls who are like, yo, this person inspired me to go snowboarding. And I'm like, really? Well, and that's okay. Like, and that's great. Like as long as you're getting inspired, like, then it's important and it's working and it's doing the right thing. But at the same time, like from an athlete's perspective, it becomes harder to digest when like I guess straight up, if the funds are going into somebody that's like local, like if you're being supported by a brand and they're not going to like hire you to go on the shoot or like promote their brand, and they're going to like hire somebody because it's either like cheaper or they're prettier or they're local or something, and it's more convenient for them, like fuck that. Like if you're going to give somebody your undeniable, if you're going to put your life on your line for this company or like these people, it's like they sure as hell better be willing to do it for you. And like at the end of the day, it's like finding those relationships that are what are going to set you apart and set the brand apart, and people can see those relationships, and it's sad when you don't have that. And like again, I'm so lucky to have the sponsors and the people supporting me that I do, because I genuinely feel like I can call my team managers and I have the connections like with them and like the friendships with them and the relationships with them to be like and they understand the standpoint and they're kind of on the same page, and I'm so lucky for that. Because I don't think it would go as well or as swimmingly if it was something different. And I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to that. I like looking at that from all sides because it's really cool. It's really cool. You know, we care about the culture of snowboarding, right? Yeah. We live, eat, breathe, you know, this whole thing. We sit here, we talk about it. We're idiots. We're like so deep into it that, you know, we love it, right? So it is amazing when you have people at these brands that are like, okay, like, you know, Jill really cares about the fabric of this culture. She's like very, like her merits are very high. Like we're putting people on her team based, male and female, based on their merits, what they're doing on their snowboard, not just a pretty face and a jacket, right? Mm-hmm. But to play devil's advocate, you know, you can do this for male or female. Like if you're a brand and you, let's say for a male, you get like a male YouTube snowboarder that has a huge following, and maybe he's, you know, he's corny, right? Maybe he's a corny dude, but if he does a swipe up on his Instagram or he plugs his thing, you're going to sell a shitload of units. Or in the same, you know, realm for a female, if you were to take a woman who's beautiful and maybe she's a model with a huge following and she does a swipe up, she's probably let's say she has 500,000 followers, she's going to sell more snowboards than the core boarder with 200,000 followers. So
hands down.
So,
I agree.
From
right.
From a business, just to play devil's advocate, from a business
right.
standpoint, you sit, you know, you can sit there and beat your chest and say we need to do this and we need to do that. But at the end of the day, like if you got to put food on your table from a ROI standpoint, it is an interesting one to look at from both sides. And I think it's like there's room for all of it, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go, you know, you don't want to turn into fucking Walmart of snowboard where it's just a graph sheet and a number.
Yeah.
There's got it because people see through that shit. There has to be an identity associated with the brand, and who you hitch your wagon to, i.e. people like you, is the identity of the brand. Ride is Jill Perkins and Danimals and was Ojo. And so a brand like that is, there, if it's just influencers, there isn't a culture there. And so that is ultimately super important, but interesting shit to talk about.
Yeah, no. So. And I completely, to be completely honest, I think something that has helped me like with my career is like I understand the business side. Like I get it. Like I'm like not fully, like I don't fully get it, but I'm not going to sit here and be like that's fake or that's not real or that's not like that's how it fucking is. That's just how it is. And like it's unfortunately a numbers game, and that's why I say like it's up to the brands to find a middle ground with that. Because it's there, you just have to look. It takes a little bit more effort and conversation than like saying like this person has 125,000 followers on Instagram. Because at the end, like, I don't know. Like, yes, that works. We know that's proof in the pudding. Like that works. But like, do you sleep good at night? Like, I don't know. Like, does that feel good? Like, do you feel good to be a part of something that you're just like, you're just basically capitalizing off of other people? And like, they're doing that. Like, they do that to good boarders or not. Like you essentially like they're capitalizing off of you and you're capitalizing off of them. So, let's work interdependently and capitalize together instead of just being like, you've done this for yourself. You have this following. Like we're going to hire you for this short stint. Fuck our team riders. We're going to hire you. Or like, I'm going to drop somebody who's been with the brand for X amount of years because you have a bigger Instagram following. I'm not going to ride for that company. And that's fine. Go do that. But like, I don't know. Like let's create positive and like truthful relationships like that. You're not going to that way. I really don't think.
Yeah. Unfortunately for a lot of brands, they sleep well at night if they have sales. Yeah. And they don't care. But a lot do too, so.
But I think you can make like I think if you do it right and you do it with the intention of good intentions, I think it can work. Like I see it work, you know? And like I said, like nobody, like Dekine's not out here, like Dekine and Ride, like the electric, like they're not out here like just like signing, like Dekine's not signing like Instagram models or like, and to me, and neither is Ride. And like, to me, that is like such a huge thing. Like it is so important because they respect me. That like shows me that they respect me. And that's huge because I respect them so much, especially even more so that they do that. And like, I don't know, leave that like there's brands for the Instagram shit. Like, there's those brands and you sure as hell know they're going to be over there with the fanny packs. Like you know what? And that's all I'm saying. Like,
it all comes full circle with the fanny packs. Well, kind of linking into what we were talking about earlier, going back to, I like the topic of people that work really hard. And I see you work really hard, whether it's a gym, skating, snowboarding, putting in fucking hours. Now, and you're a product of, person that has put in a lot of effort and now you're starting to see the rewards of that. Now, this is kind of a loaded question, but do you feel like some other people in the industry are maybe entitled?
I think people are entitled all over, whether it be in the industry or not. I think people are entitled and have egos and but at the same time, you have a name? What are we talking?
No, I'm not specifically.
Entitled in which way?
I would say in the way that I see it, that is slightly annoying is maybe we're not going to specify gender. We'll say male and female, but people, complaining about the position they're in without working hard and looking at other people that do work hard and saying, well, they have it, why don't I?
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I think that is definitely a thing. And I think a lot of it has to do with going outside and doing it. Don't sit on your ass and complain about it. Nothing's going to get done except for you're going to get kicked out. Like, I really don't know how else to put it. Like, and I think entitlement, I don't think entitlement is ever appropriate, but I think the people who work hard deserve to be looked up to and deserve like it's funny you say that about entitlement because I just think I really do think that it's going to be, if you're working hard, you deserve it. And if you're not and you're sitting back and you want it to be handed to you, that's not that fair or okay, because there are people out there that are working hard for it. Working hard, people's definition of working hard is a lot different, and that goes across the board, I think. And just because like my definition of working hard is one way, somebody else can have their way of working hard, and that might be like maybe they're working hard mentally, or maybe they're working hard like on their like other life that But I think what entitled is just a tricky word. What I think it is people see other people's success and they don't see what goes into the success, and they create these things. We all do, not they, but I do the same thing. We create these things in our mind where it's like, why does this person get this? And why are they getting it and I'm not? And I've been here for so many years, and why, like, how come, like, and then we're making excuses, It's like, oh, it's because they do this, or they look like this, or they're this person, or like they check this box or something like that. And at the end of the day, it's like, that might be true on some states, but like at the same time, it's like, no, that person's just like working harder, and like you can, and it shows, and I think it shows, and it's like, I guess a huge part of it, and this is like a tricky, slippery slope too, is potential. Because I really got my first break off of potential, and a lot of times people are like, oh, you need to like put in the hours, you need to put in the work, and you need to show your efforts before you get that break, which is true, I think. And I had an interesting situation where it was like, I had opportunities come about, and people were like, oh, we see potential. And to me, that was like a scary thing. I mean, it's a huge compliment, and I was like, oh, sick. But that's like rare, and I am so lucky. Like, I don't even know why that happened to me or for me or whatever, but like it did, and I'm here because of it, because somebody took a chance on me. And I also think, like, if you get a chance, don't fucking blow it. Like, you grab that fucking chance by the neck. Like, I just think, like, you show up. Like, every day when you're asked to be somewhere or you're asked to do something, you show up, especially at the beginning. And like, hopefully you continuously show up throughout your career, because like that's just gonna like give your career longevity. And you show up and you do you at the end of the day. Like, you kind of have to, and you kind of have to do yourself more than you do what you think other people want to see you do. And that becomes like a tricky thing, because especially when you have somewhat of a spotlight, like you get confused, like what is you and what is the you that people want to see. And then you get in this like crazy mind thing, and we can go on about that too. But I really do think that like entitlement in the industry, in snowboarding itself, plays a role, like it does in the world. But I really think that like law of attraction, things come to the people who work hard. And if you put the energy and the resources into it, and you're gonna get out what you put in. And like, and if you don't feel that way, like, I'm sorry, that's jaded. And like, like, I don't know why. And I'm sorry that that's the case, but like, I don't know, maybe like stop making excuses, or stop asking yourself why, and just fucking buckle down and do it. Because people are going to notice that. And you know what's crazy is like, that might take longer, but like, that putting the time in to like work that way, and like putting the positive and like genuine time in to like progress and get better and like work towards this, it might take longer, but the reward is going to be so much better. And complaining might take a lot. Like, with a complaining attitude, you're going to dampen that. Your relationship is going to be like cut way quicker than it would be if you were to just take the time to make it right. So it's like, take the time to make it right. Don't complain, I guess you could say.
Well, also, running it back, there's so much damn good stuff there. But you're like, oh, you kind of were saying that, people took a chance on me and this and that. And what I heard you say earlier, just right out of your own mouth, you're like, I proposed this thing to Burton, and I came up with this plan. And then you're like, and then I called Tanner McCartney. Right there, what I heard was like, a lot of people are like, I'm really good. I'm sitting around waiting for the phone to ring for somebody to call me and put me on their team. Whereas you're just like, I'm going to fucking hunt down what I want. I'm going to create a vision. I'm going to get on this brand. And I'm going to be, like, for lack of a better term, squeaky wheel gets the grease and really everything. I mean, there's times where people can be too squeaky, I've seen.
Yep.
But, like, you want the right amount of squeak. And, yeah, there's just so much cool things there to unpack about, talking about people being different, right? That she's only here because this, right? And what that does is that she's different than me. So I don't have to take accountability for my own actions. She has something I don't. She has an advantage I don't. So that's why she's there. It's not because she works hard. So it's all it does. People don't fucking like to take accountability for their own actions. It's not that Jill goes to the gym super early and then she fucking is hiking a down bar for 9 hours and she's honing her craft and like mentally tormenting herself and dreaming about it. And that's not why she's successful. She's successful because she has something different than me. And that's the narrative that a lot of people have. And I love fucking talking about this because it annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah. No, it's very obnoxious, and it honestly, like, not to get like soft, but it's like hurtful sometimes. And it's like, no, like if like there's sometimes where I'm just like, there's so many other people that put in immense amount of work, way more than me, you know? And it's just like, I admire that so much because it's like, you see it and you can like smell it in the, like, you know, when someone's like laser beaming in on something and being like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it well. And like, that's all I give a shit about. That's all I worry about. And I think it's interesting, but you know, going back to when you say like, you're right. I guess I reached out to Tanner and I did, because I was like, well, what do I know this is the path I want to take, and I back ride. Like I was like, and at that time, like I was still very green and I was like, not really sure. I mean, still green to this day, but I was just like, again, like law of attraction is a thing. And I believe in that. Right place at the right time. Also believe in that. But you also have to be a jet setter and like kind of like go after what you want, or at least like plant the seed somewhere. And it wasn't like I didn't like send Tanner like a sponsor me tape or anything. I kind of just like addressed. I was like, yo, like this just happened. And I want to do this. And like, I think we can do it. And he was just like, yeah, cool. Like whatever. And like at that moment, it wasn't like, oh, we're paying you, you know, like definitely not. Like I put in like, and then like when he took a chance on me and like just like sent me boards, I was like, I'm going to use these tools to progress my sport and myself and like make it worth their while as much as it's going to be worth mine. And it's like, you know, take what you
The phone call just got you boards.
Yeah.
And then you got to work from there.
Yeah.
There are some people though that can work their ass off, and they might maybe just are not a pro athlete though.
No, it's true.
Facts. You
no,
know?
100%.
But they can work hard and be in the industry. And
I mean, hard work. I think just hard work. Like, you know, luck favors the hardworking in the sense that, like, I just think that you know, everybody, and that's, you know, there's people could take offense to that in some ways because it's like everybody has different starting points too, right? Some people have more advantages. Some people come from different backgrounds, and there are different jump off points. But I would say, as a generalization, you know, it's kind of just goes back to what, you know, you get out what you put in. It's like a direct equation of effort and towards, you know, outcome. So yeah, I just love talking about that stuff because I think it's inspiring for people. You
can take it in all facets of life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best part.
Yeah. There's one more thing on that topic I want to say is and it kind of ties into like, do it for yourself. Like, do you kind of like go along, like do what you like to do and what you believe in. And it's kind of like play to your advantages. And like, I'm not the best snowboarder. I am fucking not the best snowboarder. You know, like I go to the mountain, there's people doing stuff that I can't even fathom doing. But I know what I can do, and I know what I like, and I know what I like to watch, and I know what I like to see. And it's like, if I can just focus on that and like play those things to my advantages, it pays off. And I think that has to do with like having an understanding of yourself and like what you like. Like people can tell like when you're doing something that you love, like it's just like an energy thing, and you can see it, and it's like it transcends. It's like people can also tell when you're doing something that you fucking hate, and that is just bad news. That's like a bad recipe right there. But I just think like playing to your advantage and like understanding yourself and like why you love it and why you like doing the things that you're doing is so crucial. And like it's going to elevate you at a rate much higher than if you're trying to play the game and you're trying to follow this little fucking map that people say is like drawn out for you, because it's not a map. There's no secret code. There's no cheat code. There's no like, it's just, you got to do you, create happiness, and that'll follow, you know? I think success will follow that.
Awesome. And going back to what you said earlier that I think is really fucking important for people to hear, you're like, when you get an opportunity, don't blow it, right? And there's a common theme, and you could probably say this for anything, whether it's snowboarding or any job or any craft, really, is that like sometimes people, they get an opportunity and they get a seat at the table and they take their foot off the gas. And then you'll see the people that are, what separates good from great is the people that get the seat at the table and they keep their foot on the fucking gas, right? Because so many times you see somebody, they finally get their big contract and they stop pedaling, for lack of a better term, you know? So That's
and the
cool.
real ones pedal harder. And
Yes.
really
It's
take
almost like,
advantage of that.
and that's such a sad thing. Like I see people like sometimes getting a break, and then it's like,
Blow it.
and then just stop doing what you're doing. Like you yeah.
They're like, I
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah, and that is so incredibly hard to watch from afar. Like it's sad to watch because I'm just like, the stars were aligning and you were doing it. And you know, but again, devil's advocate. If they're not happy doing it anymore, then don't fucking do it. You know?
Yeah, maybe that's a problem and they need to move on.
But whatever you're gonna do it to your full potential and like with full heartedly. Like seriously, because you'll be able to make it work. Like regardless of like whether you're once the greatest this or that, and now you're like doing something else. Like you could be the greatest at something else if you really want. You just have to like own it, you know? But it isn't just stay foot on the gas. Absolutely. Like don't let off the gas, I think is very, very important because nothing's coming out of that. Like that's just an empty tap at that point.
That's beautiful. That brings us to our next guest question.
Okay.
Guest question is presented by Solomon Snowboards. Now, in our DMs, we get all kinds of DMs asking about setups. On my personal DM, I'm always answering questions about what board I ride and what bindings I ride. Now, I used to ride the Solomon Triggers. They're kind of the price point they're a price point binding, incredible binding. Love them. But I recently upgraded to the Districts, which if you're watching are behind my head, and they're the best bindings I've ever ridden. They're insanely responsive, insanely light. So if you're looking at getting some bindings, get some Solomon Districts. Highly recommend it. And with that being said, let's get into the guest question from Dave Marks. Here we go.
Jelly P, love seeing you on the bomb hole. You're an inspiration to us all. And I've been thinking a lot about, after a conversation we had this weekend, incredible weekend by the way, thinking about the way skateboarding has and continues to bolster their female skateboarders and the culture that's built around it and everything that is being done to make it even bigger. And I'm just curious to hear from you how snowboarding stacks up. I know you got a good answer for me. Love seeing you on the bomb hole.
Jesus.
That was really loud.
You know, it's funny.
Turkey.
I was like trying to focus on Dave's question, and I was just
The
like,
music
what's
in the
going on
background.
in the background?
Yeah,
Where
it was
are
kind
you?
of taking my ear away
You
from the
playing in
question
it?
too.
What's going on? Yeah.
Also, he said, you said the word bolster, I believe.
Bolster.
And
Can I get a definition?
I know.
On that?
I'll tell you what I did. I Googled it because I didn't know what bolster was. Bolster
I was
is
gonna make it up. I don't know either.
bolster's it's a firm pillow that lies beneath the other pillows to support
You had
the
to
pillows.
put something up, right?
Yeah, the bolster is a supportive pillow was the first definition.
Wow.
So
But that's not what he meant.
But no, well, he
But in
meant
a way-
to hold
Yeah,
up.
to hold it
some
up.
pillars.
So I guess it's a support unit of sorts. So that's bolster.
To like boost you up.
Dave and the Flowery Diction. Thank you for googling that because I was literally I thought I wouldn't have made the pillow right, but I was just kind of like context clues, I guess.
Yeah.
But okay, so if I break down that couple sentences that he said, we see it in skating, and we see it especially right now, females in skating, and how it's like propelling upwards, right? That's what he's saying. And why is that happening? Or like what is the foundation for that, I think, is what he's asking me, right?
yeah.
And how's
and
it,
does it
and what's
translate?
going on in snowboarding, I guess, comparatively to skateboarding's
Yeah.
women's.
I think it's interesting. I think a lot of it because of social media and everything, talent has a lot to do with it, and like skill and like what you're producing, your product has a lot to do with it. But also like the product machine has a lot to do with it. You got to like kind of like grease both. Like you got to, if you don't have a good working machine, or you're like putting too much energy into the machine, and you're like overdoing it, like the product's not going to be the best. If you're focused on the product, the machine's going to take a fall. And I think a huge thing right now is in skating, females in skating, they're more than just like a skateboarder. Like at heart, they are a skateboarder, but they're also a human, and like being a good human and like being a good role model and like setting standards for somebody who wants to be within the industry is so crucial and so important. And I mean, that also ties into like ambassador things and like what you're doing to get these followers, It's like, are you going to get these followers because you're a good person? Are you going to do these things? Are you getting these followers because you're shaking your ass? Like what, and I'm just kind of like, and I think what's so cool about skateboarding is that there's these individuals in skateboarding who are fucked up good at skating, good people, have good morals, and they're having fun. And I think that is so important, and they can have good conversation, and they can like stand their ground, and they're texturized people, because like the last thing you want, like a fault, like you can't have a pillar that's you can't have like a wavering pillow, like, or wavering, like what is it, foundation at all. Like you need a strong foundation, because if you don't have that and your foundation doesn't have a backbone, like there's no foundation at all, that thing's gonna come crashing down. And what's cool in snowboarding right now, what I find is I feel like there's a lot more women and people in snowboarding who are now, like, snowboarding is not only focused on just purely snowboarding, but it's also focused on people in their lives, like what's going into it. I know, like, this year I really, like, the project I want to work on, I'm like, I want to do a project where I snowboard, but I also want it to showcase, like, what else we do as people in our lives and, like, what goes into it, kind of like what we were talking about, because it's a lot. There's a lot more that goes on. And I think having those, like, having a textured human and a person with attitude and personality and talent and skill and hardworking is the foundation. Like, being able to have that is so important, and a good role model is so important, because if you don't have that, like, you need someone who's can like confidently set a standard, and a standard that is like genuine and true and healthy for people to live by. Because if you're setting like a poor standard, it's not going to rise. People are not going to invest in that. Companies are not going to invest in that. People aren't going to, like, it might maybe for a little bit because it's like a hot ticket right there, but you want like sustainability, and sustainability within a human is like being good to your core, you know, and like doing the right thing and making the right decisions, and like being there for yourself and others, and like bringing other people up, and like reaching down and helping that. And that is also huge right now, because I think a lot of people get stuck in the like me, like upward thing. And it's just like, I'm taking myself to the fucking top, you know? And right now, more than ever, because we all see it, it's like, it's about creating a community and like getting people together, because without that community, you have nothing. Like, without the supporters, we have absolutely nothing. And I think that's huge. Like, you need to be more accepting and welcoming. And I think because women are now welcoming other women in industries, action sports industries in particular is what I'm talking about. It's becoming like this like domino effect, where it's just like multiplying like the fucking virus. Like, it's just like going, because there's more means, like there's the return on that. And that's because there's good people in the positions of what they're doing. And it's not these like shady people. I hope not, you know, that's what I see. I make genuine connections, and I see them like bringing other people up. I'm like, that is what it's about. And it's about them bringing up the other people who are going to continue that going on. Because when you bring up people who like aren't deserving or don't work hard enough, or, you know, it's going to die. Like, the legacy will die there. And I think like having, again, positions of power with good people is like solid foundation, and it's safe, you know. Right?
That was a good answer.
No, great answer, and I love talking about the culture stuff.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
culture's huge.
The culture,
does that answers that question, right?
100%, yeah, more,
Okay.
I would say kind of above and beyond,
Yeah,
if anything.
I think
but
that was great.
I think the culture stuff's so cool, because, you know, we're all trying to strengthen it and make room for inclusivity with everybody. And I am going to play devil's advocate a little bit too, because I do think, you know, I did hear like a little jab at like the girl that's shaking her ass, right? But I think we need the girl that's shaking her ass. Just like we need all sides.
We need all sides.
Totally.
You know, like we need the girls that aren't, and it's kind of like, do what you want. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
and to do, that's what I'm saying. Own it. Like,
yeah.
we do need that. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like I was saying, like, that is attractive to some people. People like are hooked on it. Like, people see that and get inspired. I personally do not. That is okay. Like, you know, and if that is what is going to get you going, like, let's go, run it up. But do I think that if the people in positions of power were to be those types of people, and they were only bringing other people up who were shaking their ass, like, could you imagine what we would be doing? We wouldn't be here.
Maybe shaking your ass, but also being good at the craft too.
We would, we literally wouldn't be here.
True, and there's definitely like this is a wormhole we could go down deep with, you know, that whole marketing and the foundation that a lot of women's marketing stands on, and yada yada yada. But what I'm saying, it's like in some ways, I think we just need the counterpart. Like, even if we don't agree with it, whether it's like, you know, I feel like Democrats need Republicans. Like, they need people to balance each other out. I just think as humans, you know, you kind of got to check all bases, and snowboarding's becoming very inclusive, you know, and which is cool to kind of change gears and talk about the Torment stuff and get into that.
Yeah.
And how snowboarding's been exclusive, or sorry, let me restart that.
Exclusively inclusive? That's what I like to say. Exclusively inclusive.
Yeah. So
That's a good one.
Was that pretty cool? That whole experience with Torment and everything?
Yeah. You're talking about the Pride Week.
The Pride Week, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually huge because I never thought that I would take, I guess I never, again, like I didn't have a roadmap to that. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. I didn't think I was ever going to talk about that. And then, you know, one thing led to another. And I'm so happy that we that happened. And like John had put that on and all the participants like went in full-heartedly and like kind of like just like took control. And we like see it in skateboarding. We see it in other avenues in life. And, you know, it was ironically enough, like Grosso's love letter came out, I think like a week or two before. And people were like, we need this in snowboarding. And like behind the scenes, like we were like, it's coming, just give it a week. Like, you know, but, and it was cool. It's cool to see all of that go down and just like the amount of love that I can only speak for myself, but I can imagine it transcends to everybody else who is involved or not. Like the feeling, like it just warming.
It's a proud moment.
Like, it was really, it really was. And I like talking about like doing the interview was so funny because like I had never talked to really anybody about, like I was dating Taylor for like 3.5 years. And like people knew that I was like dating a woman, but like they didn't, like I didn't talk about it and I didn't want to, you know? And my bad. Like I wish I would have earlier because it would have changed. I think it would have changed a lot of things like for myself and for the relationship or whatever. But like talking to John about it was the first time that I had really like broken into talking about it and like kind of giving him an inside scoop in myself. Like I guess I've never really like, because I talked to him, I was able to talk to myself about it and I never really did that before. And it was cool to like see like everybody's different stories and how different they are. Like it's so different but they're all the same. Like it's all the same too. It's like I don't know. It was very powerful, a very powerful like moving thing that I think created a lot of space within the industry, within our lives, within everything. And like the amount of people that have like come up to me or like have messaged me or like just the other day, like someone was like, oh, like my niece or my little cousin came out to me and like because of like what you and everybody else did, like I was able to like comprehend this a lot more and like help her and like send her into directions that like she might not have had or like, you know, into like some like guidance or, you know, references or be like just relatable topics. And I think it's so important because it's always been around. It's just now being talked about. And that is huge. Like just like using your words and talking about it and like, I don't even want to say normalizing things, but like normalizing things is huge and it's so important. And that can be with like body dysmorphia. Like that could like, it doesn't have to be just about being like gay or straight or, you know, it could be about anything. And like, I just think it's so important and it's so cool that people are out there like talking about things because it's helping a lot of people. And if I can just help one person, I'm happy, you know?
That's huge, yeah.
And that was, at the end of the day, it was funny because I guess this is like the main takeaway I have from it. When I was going into it, I was like, I'm doing this for other people. In leaving, I was like, not only is that going to help other people, like that helped me tremendously. Like I don't know. I've never talked. Did
you talk to your family about it?
Yeah, I've talked to my, like they knew,
Before
but like
that,
I'd be like every time I'd be like,
You just-
I don't know. I'm like, I think this is what I'm doing. I don't really know. Yeah. And that's why I say normally, like if it wasn't so talked about, I would probably still be a little hermit and be like, oh, I don't really know. And it's so interesting to me because like, it's not like this, like people think it's like this like black or white thing, you know, and it's not. And that's okay. And I think a lot of people need to understand that because it's like I don't know how to really go about that topic of conversation. All I just know is like because of what Torment has done and because of where we are and because of where we are going and the direction we are going, I think people are a lot more comfortable in their own skin. And like, I think a better product all around in products, in business and in personal life is just going to be better. And it's like, it's almost like life elevated. It's like you kind of like open this door to where you can feel comfortable being yourself and like doing these things. And also it's like, because I did that and because like, I don't have to have these like weird conversations anymore. And like, I was like, no, it's just out. I'm like, just like send them a link. Like, you know, like no, but it is interesting. And I really am like thankful and proud of the space that the people in all industries have created by doing this and being honest and open and sharing their stories because, again, it's helping other people and it helps you. And I think it's a positive wheel that gets going.
Being able to be yourself is huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And like, even, I mean, like, it wasn't like I was sitting back and like holding all this in forever. I didn't even realize until I like saw somebody where I was just like, whoa, this person's so cool. I was like, this is like, yeah. And then it just worked and it flew and I had a great time and it was amazing. And I learned so much about myself. And I think that is such a huge takeaway. Like, it's huge. And it's kind of like, if I can help somebody else feel comfortable and confident in doing so, like, that's fucking sick.
That's great.
Like, I would love to do that.
And the thing that's really cool about the culture or the community, right, is they could be a million people that I'll take a different example. For example, let's take Andrew Reynolds, right? Like I always struggled with substance abuse and drinking, and then Andrew Reynolds, he's somebody I look up to. He's sober. I'm like, oh, skateboarders can be sober.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he's like me. I can do that, right? So that was like, before that, it was like not really culturally acceptable, different, but again, going back to being okay, being by yourself. And then somebody, that's in our culture, skate or snow, they're like, oh, look what Jill's doing. Oh, that's okay. I can do that. And now it's to the point where it feels so normal. I didn't even make a note of it on the notes. I was just like, that's just, who gives a shit? But I mean, obviously we should talk about it. It's important, but it's great that it feels that normal now.
Yeah.
Like the progress, I mean, not for everybody probably, but I don't know. I think there's progress happening.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I was so scared. Like, I think I was so scared of like it ruining my career. Like, I was just like, no, like, not to mention we have the same sponsor. So I'm just like, this is like, no, we can't, no, we're not talking about it. But then I'm like, if anything, I remember telling Colleen, I called Colleen and I was like, hey, I'm going to do this Pride interview. I'm letting you know now. And she's like, I've been waiting for you to like tell me this, essentially. And I was like, oh my God, like, and like, I knew she was supportive. Like I knew everybody knew, but it was like, nobody was like, kind of like bringing it up. It was like, they were waiting for me, respectfully so. And so when I did that, I just felt like such a sigh of relief where I was just like, oh, like, and then she was like, will you do them for us? Like, we want this. And it was so cool and empowering to feel like, yeah, like creating space. And I wish I don't know, it's just important to be able to give back somehow that is genuine. Like, it's not like I'm like, all these proceeds go to X, Y, and Z. It's like, oh no, I'm giving a piece of myself to hopefully help you and your family or whoever, or somebody you love. And I think that is so much more rewarding than anything else that I've ever done, personally and for others, and it's, grateful for that. Like, that shaped and changed my life. And I hope that it can help other people take steps in the necessary direction. And also, I'm here if anybody ever wants to talk about it. So
that's great. And for the listeners, Colleen's from Decline.
Yeah.
Just because some people aren't going to know
Colleen
you're
Quigley,
referring
she's
to a
the
sponsor.
Best. Yes, Colleen Quigley, she is the best. She's from Decline. Love her very much.
Let's give her an air horn.
Yeah, she needs one. Yeah. Also, legendary snowboarder.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I like. She beats me at all the races. I beat her once. Pride moment. That trophy's hanging on my wall, Colleen. So come over and see it anytime.
Shout out to Colleen C. Quiggs. But going back to what you're saying too, snowboarding is a great tool for people to find themselves, find their identity, right? You're like, oh, this is my squad. You're fucking weird. You're like 16. You got acne. You don't know how to fucking live.
You got your crew, right?
Then you're like, oh, this is my thing. These are my, and so you kind of find, I can only speak for myself. I found my identity through snowboarding and skating. Mm-hmm. And so then to be able to even furthermore, not just identify as a skateboarder, but to be able to identify as somebody that's gay or whatever, and just broaden that, it just helps the culture helps people find themselves even more.
Totally.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like you get to, in what we do, you get to express yourself like to its fullest. And I think that's so important. Like, I don't know what would happen if I was in like a desk job. I think I would just have like a separate life, but also I don't know. That's a totally different makeup. I can't even begin to talk about that because who knows where I would be or who I would be in love with at that point in time. But I think it is so cool that we are able to have these realizations and these generations to come, like, be like so cool about everything and like just like willing to be open and learn. Like, I have a little sister. She's 19 now, and she's just like the the greatest little like advocate ever. And she's such a sweetheart. And she's just as like, oh yeah, like you're dating a girl, that's cool. So like, what are you going to tell me? You know? And like, before, like, you know, and like 20 years ago, not even 20 years ago, they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
What? You're going to burst into flames. Like, you know?
Well, and for her, it's way more normalized.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so cool. Like, and that is just like, I don't know. And I'm not just saying it's like just her as a person, but I think it's an entire generation. They're just like, yo, whatever. We like who we like, or we do what we do. And like, that's okay. And like, you don't like it. Sorry. Too bad. Move along. Like, you know, I'm going to find the people who do like it. And that's, we do that. We weed, as we get older too, we like weed out the people and we learn what we like. We learn what other people like, and you kind of meet the people who you enjoy the same things as. You know, it's important. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go on a different side note. I don't know if this applies or not, but it's just an observation I had. Like, I don't know if any, you know, buddies ever scrolled through Tinder or any of those dating apps with a friend, right? And beauty it's so in the eye of the beholder. Like, I've scrolled through and I've been like, dude, what are you doing? Like that, but they're like so hyped, right? And it's like, and then I'm doing the same thing. He's like, dude, that person's not beautiful, whatever, however, you know, probably in different verbiage than that. But like, I'm like, you know, it's just kind of interesting. I
right?
just like people think that you need to look a certain way or, you know, beauty is a certain thing. And it's I can tell you that it's even as dudes, you know, from my friend group, like we all are into different looking people.
Aren't you lucky? Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah, it's good.
No, seriously, it is interesting. And also, I mean, you know what the most, like, and this kind of like wraps into so many different topics, not only on like the way people look, but it's like, if you didn't have, like, if you didn't, like everybody, you find beauty in different things. Like we all have different opinions of like what we think is attractive and what we think is not attractive. And like, thank God for that or thank whoever or whatever, you know, for that, because without that, if everybody looked the same, we were doing the same thing, like there would be nothing. Like there would literally be nothing.
Be stale.
And that going back to like the ambassador thing, going back to like the ass shaking thing, going back to all of it. It's like we wouldn't know a difference if we didn't have one. And so like I'm so happy we have these differences. Like we're lucky to have all the differences in the world, and being able to touch on the differences and acknowledge them and listen to people about the differences is where it really comes into play. It's just like having an open ear and an open shoulder and like not shutting people out, like don't react, and just like listen and understand. Like if you don't agree with somebody, take a second to like ask why, or like take a second to understand. And that's a new thing for me. And so like, you know, I feel like maybe some people will be listening to this and they'll be like, yeah, she's talking out of her ass. Like she doesn't do that. But it's definitely something that I'm working on, because like I, for the longest time, like set in my ways. And this summer I realized I'm like, I'd get in like a little altercation with somebody and I'd be like, chill. There's literally like, we're 20, I'm 26. Like you're however old you are. I was like, they made it to 26 without your help. Like, why do you think you need to tell them how to live their life now? Because you don't, because they made it here and here they are, fine products of the environment. Don't tell them that they're not. So yeah,
True.
I don't do that anymore. So for everybody who's known me do that, I don't do that anymore. I try not to.
Well, you should all naturally evolve as we grow up. At the you know, Jamie Thomas talked about his episode, but we live in this world of I don't know if he called it prolonged adolescence.
Yeah,
basically the fact that you don't have to grow up in our little bubble, because there's like a revolving door of fucking 17-year-olds.
I've been fighting it forever.
And you know, then you got people like me and Buds who are basically have the immaturity of a 12-year-old, and we're like closer to getting our 401k check than anything else, which I don't actually have. I don't know why I said that horrible reference, but you know, we should all evolve. Like, you don't, what people are like, dude, somebody will be like, you know, Frost Puppy, for example. Okay, being from Massachusetts, my narrative is like I'm a fucking dickhead, like guy, you know, like fast paced, whatever. And that a lot of people have met me, be like, dude, I met you, you're a dick, right? And so I'm working on that, right? I'm working on that, and so I'll like do fucking yoga now, right? And it's like, you know, the 18-year-old me would be beating the shit out of myself if I knew I was
seeing yourself do yoga.
But what I'm getting at is that we don't want to be the same person. Like you shouldn't wake up and be 40 and be like, whoa, I'm the same exact I was as I was 18. That's not good. You should evolve. You should like, you know.
You don't want that.
You got to evolve.
It's not something you want. Yeah.
Except for when it comes to like humor, because it's like fun to still be like
be immature.
Be immature. Yes.
Yeah.
True. And you meet those people that haven't evolved, and you can tell.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's important that you guys definitely stay, like I think it's important that you guys stay relevant. No.
Ouch.
No, what I meant to say is I think you do a really good job at like
staying relevant.
Like you like it, and you're not like you're not looking at it like, oh, these fucking kids. Like you're kind of like you have to like kind of dive on in.
You got to embrace the kids,
and like you have to embrace the like your future relies on embracing the kids.
There's nothing better than jumping in the van full of kids every year and going on a trip.
It's a little weird. That's a little weird. Maybe don't say that.
But it's fun.
Out of context, that could be a very
no, you're right.
bold statement.
Yeah, but it keeps you feeling younger too.
Yeah,
just traveling around snowboarding.
One thing on that really quick. I just want to give a shout out to Marie Francois. I feel like, she's sick, and another person that I've looked up to for a while and just admired from a distance. And like that generation, like is so sick, and they've done so much in their careers. And lately, I've noticed her like kind of just she's in tune. Like I noticed her more, and Greta Eliasson on the ski side, like in tune and just like being proactive and like reading into what's out there, because it's like at the end of the day, that's like what they do. That's what they like. I think, I don't know. I haven't talked about it with them, but I noticed their presence, and it's so refreshing because it's like I don't know, to me, that's refreshing. Like, it's like different generations like coming together because they love the same thing, and like they appreciate the same thing. And at the end of the day, a good turn is a good turn. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a common bond.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think it's really cool to see and communicate and have allies within different generations, and not just my like direct peers. And I think that's so cool, and I just appreciate that. Like, if you were to tell me that like Marie Francois was like gonna like comment on my shit, I would be like, what?
Yeah.
You know? And now we like talk over Instagram like every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, like it's so cool. I'm like, I love that. So thank you, I guess.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of is an interesting, there's some parallels into maybe what we're going to get into, but seems like big news by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be public, but you just signed a deal with Monster, correct?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I took your shoes, yeah.
You took Chris's spot?
Took your spot.
For the listeners that don't know, I rode for Monster for 9 years. I got cut by Cody Dresser. Let's give him a quick air horn.
Here we go.
What up, Cody?
No, shouts to those guys, honestly. As much as I'm busting balls, I got nothing but good things to say, and it was a great experience. They did so much for me, but
Cody's my boy.
Yeah, I got to give him a little jab. You know what I'm saying?
Healthy.
But
healthy.
Yeah,
that's sick that you got that deal, and there is going back. You have to. It's a revolving door, right? Out with the old, in with the new, and fuck, you got to embrace the youth. And
Yoga and Monster's a tough look, though.
Yeah, dude. I mean, somebody might have called and said, "Hey,
I saw Chris at a yoga class, man."
That could have been it.
That could have been what happened.
Maybe it was Jill.
No, I don't do it. I don't do yoga. I wish I did. I need it. My back is like an 80-year-old.
But that's
80-year-old.
So dope that they're
Thank you. Yeah,
investing in yourself.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And instead of contests, the video parts and the streets and
I mean, Jess did it, and I mean, like I'm like shocked. Like honestly shocked. Like I was just like, oh, yep. I would love to.
Let's do this.
But also like, I mean, touching on energy drinks. I was kind of like, I want to be able to when they came to me, it was kind of like, we want you to continue doing what you're doing, and we want you to do it well, and like we want to support that. And to me, that was really the like determining factor. It wasn't like, they weren't coming at me being like, we want you to change this, this, and that. It was like, we admire what you do. We want you to run it, and we want you to do it the way that you would do it. Not like, here's our brand mission statement. We want you to fulfill all aspects of this mission statement. Instead, they were like, do you, and like we support that. And I'm like, okay, yep.
Yeah, they're not sending you to contests. And you're standing around like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
here?
And to be honest, like that was mentally hard on me, because I was just like, do I deserve this? Like, do I deserve to be here? Like, this is a life-changing opportunity, and like, I am so lucky to be in this position that I am. Like, like never would I thought, like it crossed my mind, and I was always like, yeah, I would love to, but I was not like, one day I'm gonna do this, and because I didn't think it was, I couldn't fathom that. I didn't think it was a possibility. And to be able to stand here and be like hyped and supported and like be able to grow with a company and a brand and like my way and like join paths with them and not necessarily derail my plane or train, whatever, derail the train, is huge. So yeah, shout out to Monster, hyped on that. Good opportunities, and I'm excited for like working with them and projects in the future.
Yeah, that should be exciting stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up, shooting with you seem like you always have a routine when you're strapping in.
Yeah, I do.
What's going on with that? What's the story? I notice a lot of riders do. It's something I always find interesting. You like slap your boot.
Yep. I was wondering if that's what you were gonna say. I'm superstitious as hell. And
is that what it is? Superstitious?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, but also who likes to strap in and you're like strapping and you're like, and I'm also kind of lazy in a sense because I'm like, if I don't do that and I have snow on the bottom of my boot, I'm not unstrapping and taking it off. Like I'm just gonna like Hail Mary it until it works. But
oh, you do the boot slap.
So she does every time.
Ozzy Henning does that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Every single time she has like the same routine. She straps in and does it before she goes.
I'll like smack my boot like both inside like both of them, and then I do it, and then depending on how the session is going, I'll change it up. But a lot of it, the biggest mental one I have is like the amount of clicks. And like if my straps start to get all sketchy, I don't count clicks, but I can like feel the pressure. So like I'll like undo it and like find the right pressure. The boot snap thing, yeah, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of weird things that I do. Weird, like superstitious, like weird, and like sometimes like I'll get in the point where I'll be like, next one, I got it. Next one, I got it, and then I'll be like, every time you say that, you don't got it. So why are you even saying that? And then I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it.
I feel like a lot of people do that one though.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah.
Got this one.
I'm trying to think. There was a while I had like these like Eye the Tiger bead things. Like I had like a bracelet and it fell in the through the pocket of my pants to my boot, like to the cuff of my pant. And I would like touch it. Be like, well, I'd have to move it to like, get my binding, but I'd like feel it and I'd be like, Eye the Tiger. Let's go. Didn't really work that well, but you know, mentally them shits are not in there anymore. They were just kind of in the way.
Yeah, you got to find ways to calm yourself when you're like 142 tries into a front board and you're like, okay, here we go again.
Well, thank you for saying 142 because I'll have this conversation with people. This always gets me, and they'll be like, "Yeah, man, my 12th try," and I'm like. Like you're 12. I'm like, I'm talking 142 all the time. Like, let's get those numbers. Like, don't be like, yeah,
those are rookie numbers. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, I'm battling a trick, and like, you know, by the 12th try, I was starting to get really mad. I'm like,
I'm not even ready for the photo yet on 12 tries. You know
yeah,
what I
I'm
mean?
like, let's get seriously.
By 142, I got every angle covered.
I haven't even had my first meltdown yet. Like, not one tear has shed. You know, we have many to come. Yeah.
Well, you get also filming and writing. You get slaughterhouse 5'd, right? Like you take bail skis.
Yes. I definitely die. yeah, I definitely die. I think I'm dead. No, I do.
Look, honey, I'm flying, I'm dead.
I do. And it is like a funny thing because Stone has seen it, like Ted has seen it, and it's like, and it's kind of like a funny, like new filmers, I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna let you know I'm gonna eat a lot of shit before this works out. And like if I don't, yay. But just don't be worried. Like I'm gonna be okay. And like I do it and they're like, oh my God, like, do you want to stop? I'm like, no, this is me warming up, I guess. Yeah. But it's honestly gotten a lot better, I think.
Yeah, at first you like kind of dance around commitment.
Yeah.
And then you finally jump in after getting whooped a couple different ways.
You ever do any barking? That kind of gets the people going.
I go for the head punch, and I'm not proud of it. Yeah.
Head punch.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I would advise against that to the listener.
I know. Don't punch your head. Like, save the brain, for real. Like, I will get frustrated. Like, I won't bark. Sometimes I'll yell, for sure, or like sit there in silence and explode. But yeah, I wouldn't say that those habits are necessarily the most healthy. Definitely trying to work on them. Yeah.
Well, talking about getting bodied, trying tricks, what I was getting at is all the greats do.
Yeah.
Like if you watch, I've been filming with Louif Parody, one of the best rail riders to ever do it. If you don't know who he is and you're listening to this, type his name in on YouTube and watch some video
blown
parts.
away, literally.
And he dies.
Yes.
He dies. Like and same thing. I've seen Bodie die. You see Jed take slam. I mean, Jed the kid's a freak,
Yeah.
but they all slam super hard, all the greats. And that's just from my lens I've seen. So it's, if you are going out there and you are slamming super hard, you're doing something right.
Yeah. If you're not slamming, you're not learning.
Not trying hard enough.
You're not trying. Yeah. And there's a way to do it safer. Oh, there's a way to do it safer than not, I would say. And it's kind of like, but that also comes with like trial and error. You like learn how to make a spot safe, or like what you're doing, how to make it safe. You learn how to fall, stuff like that. But yeah, like I definitely am getting fucking played a lot of the times.
Yeah, and if you build the spot right and fall correctly, and you're going to be all right.
You know what Bud's specialty is like after you've gotten like slaughtered, but it's like a banger photo. He's like, dude, you got this, Bud.
Now he's invested.
And you're like, I can't really breathe right now. I think I need to go to the hospital. He's like, come on, Bud, you got this.
Yeah. He's like, I got mine. Now you go get yours.
I'm past the point of caring if you landed it, dude. That was like some 10-year ago shit. After 20, 30 years behind the lens, fuck it. Yeah, I've seen a front board. You know what I mean? You've done one, you've done them all.
Seen one, you've seen them all. Yeah.
I mean, though, let's
unless
just
it's like a groundbreaking spot, then it's like, all right, guy better land this. But if it's just some average fucking 20 stair,
you don't.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If you
Don't show up.
Green jacket, gold jacket.
Just being honest.
The cool thing about photos, though, which I appreciate more than film and videos, I just think like up to interpretation. You like see it, and it's up to your own mind to like come up with what's going on, especially if you see a photo before the clip comes out.
Yeah. If you look at their eyes in photos too, if you can see them, you can tell if they're landing or not.
Yeah.
You can tell if someone's totally looking over there and they're riding this way. They ain't landing.
I guess that's a really good point.
It's true. You know what I mean?
Now
you're looking at the landing when you're landing. That's how I look.
You know what I got to call bullshit on all the time is like I see press photos. Somebody's like nose pressing. And they're like 12 o'clock boys.
That's the moment they're like
and you're
coming
like,
in
dude,
or
he's
out
literally
of it.
falling off the rail. Like,
yeah.
But like the one he made it to the end was like, he probably went like 6 o'clock on it.
There's
barely
that
got
moment where you get into a press and out of a press where it looks like you're pressed, but you're not. And that's that trick 12 o'clock boy moment you're talking about. Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Mm-hmm. Bud sees
not a presser.
Yeah, he's a. Oh yeah.
I'm working on it actually. I mean, and
you got a mean front board though.
Yeah, but I need to grow up. I need to graduate from the front board.
Hey, it's like the Reynolds' frontside flip. You know what I mean? People just want to see
kind
it.
of your signature
talking about trick tip videos. I watched that video so much. I'm like, I just want to learn a frontside flip so bad. And like, why not learn it from him? But no, it doesn't. It's yet to work. I'll let you know how that goes. But
I got one more Patreon question from Alex Alert. I think it's French-Canadian. What do you want to see happen in the snowboard community in the next few years?
Oh, I think we're on the right path of where it's like growing and like becoming more accessible for other people. Therefore, it's like, becoming bigger. And I think that's really cool. What I would really like, you know what? These questions are funny because it's like easier for me to answer what I would not like to see,
Let's start there. Why not?
I would like to see it progress for sure. I would hate to see it be like watered down. And you know what I'm having a really hard time with right now is everything fucking looks the same. And I'm kind of like tired of seeing like the close up on the pretty lights with the music and like some like weird kaleidoscope thing. I'm sick of that. Like, let's get that out. But I mean, I get it. It's like art and stuff, but like do it your own way. And like, don't like do it your own way. Like, come on. I mean, we all get inspiration from something, but it's like, you've seen one, you've seen it
then
all.
They beat it to death.
Yeah. And then it's like, it's dead. It's gone. But so I would like to see more, I would like to see more personality in snowboarding. I think that old video parts had that, and I admire that so much. Like, that is my attraction to street snowboarding is like personality and like people and like seeing like what, like, it's funny to me. And like, I feel like you always have great lifeys and like B-roll and stuff, and it's important. Like, that is what creates like, I don't know. I can appreciate somebody snowboarding, but I appreciate them so much more if they like have a personality and they're like cool or funny, or like just, yeah, you want to get to know them for sure. And I would love to see more of that. Definitely. I would like to see, I touched on progression. I would like to see that all around. More inclusivity for sure. And I think that's happening. I think we're on a really good track.
Good path.
I really do. Yeah. Yeah. And I think with the foundations and the people creating these paths, if they can continue, if we can all continue to just move along and like do the right thing and I think it'll grow on its own because it's really cool. And I also think a lot more people are doing outdoor stuff. So hopefully that the industry grows. I think lift tickets should be less expensive. I think snowboard should be less expensive. I think it should be more accessible for like a lot of people to go snowboarding because at the end of the day, we need them to go snowboarding if we want to continue to snowboard.
Yes.
So I think those are all huge things.
That's awesome. You know, Jamie was in here, Thomas, talking about skateboarding hit its 10-year cycle.
Yeah.
Let's hope snowboarding's about to hit its
Yeah,
10-year
seriously.
cycle again. You know what I mean? It's about 10 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Time for that upswing.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get into a hard-hitting topic right now.
Uh-oh.
When you're in the lift line as a snowboarder and somebody's about to get on the lift and they do the beaver slap.
What's that? Where they
slap, they
aggressively get the snow.
I want to know
Slap
your
at the
guys'
base.
take about the lift line beaver slap.
Man, I don't think I'm a fan of it. It's aggressive.
I mean, the person doing the lift line beaver slap is like the person who's like trying to clear the snow off the Neff sticker. You know what I mean?
It's just so everyone can see what's up.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, yeah, I got this. This came off a tag from Tilly's, probably.
They're
I'm
looking
sticking
for
it on my
attention,
snowboard.
huh?
Yeah, and I used to. Did you used to do it?
Guilty as charged with the beaver
Yeah.
slap. I mean, honestly, I'll still hit a pretty fat slap
The
every once in
beaver
a
slap.
while.
You still do it.
I'll tell you. You know, sometimes you got to like establish alpha male dominance in the lift line,
Slapping it.
and you just kind of hit a fat beaver
Yeah.
slap right before you get on. I don't know. It just kind of randomly popped in.
I don't know that I've ever done it in my life.
You've never done it. That's bullshit.
Bullshit.
He also said he had a 21-inch stance on his front
I
foot.
do have a 21
He said he had a
inch
21-inch angle on his
I
front
meant
foot.
21.5-inch stance between my legs.
What angles you're
Oh,
on, Buds?
God.
I got a 21-inch
I think
-3.
It's 12 -3.
So
Okay.
Buds
What's
is
your
claiming
stance?
never
Changes.
fucking
It
never
does?
slapped.
Your stance changes?
Yeah, it depends on like how tight my ankle is feeling that
Oh,
day.
for real?
It also can change with like tricks too. Yeah, it definitely changes. I think typically it's like 12 and -3 to 6. Yeah,
That's what I
would
just
say.
said my stance was.
Standard issue
Yeah.
stance. Right
But
there.
I would
Standard
do. There was a time where I was at like 3 and -3. I would did like I did 3
That's
and
crazy.
-3.
It's
I know it was-
changed in
yeah,
a
but I was
short-
just like
That's the G stance.
I was like, oh, it's like skateboarding.
Trying
I'm
new
like, it's not
things.
like skateboarding at all. But and then I think the more I'm like jumping, like it's like definitely getting a little bit wider. And the more I'm riding switch, it's definitely the back foot's opening up a little bit. But before it was not.
You ever think about going Sean White, like 28-incher?
Is that what he rocks?
I don't think I could.
26 or something?
I think
fat.
my knees would just like no. I don't
Yeah, it's
think
all
I
how
could.
your knees are
Yeah.
built, basically, I think. 'Cause
Yeah.
it hurts. One thing might hurt someone else, what feels good for...
Yeah, it changes with injuries. I really do think like if I'm tired, it's changing. Like if depending on how much effort I want to put into my snowboarding that day, my ankles are changing.
That's crazy. Mine's been steady for like ever since I started for like 30 years or something.
Do you
About
measure? Do you
35.
measure the width? Like
I-
how wide do you want it to?
Usually, yeah, I measure. I use measuring tape for
Yeah,
sure.
I do too. I'm weird about that one.
People always ask about setups.
Mm-hmm.
So, A, what is your setup?
Mm-hmm.
B, do you do anything specific or like have any, special little kind of,
Pro tips.
pro tips for the listeners?
Or custom stuff.
Custom stuff. Okay, let's see. My setup I am rocking right now is I ride the Ride Back Talk, and I love it. I ride a 151, and I ride. We just came out with new bindings actually, and they're so sick, lightweight. Like for a while, I was like, oh, them shits are clunky, and then now I'm like, this is tight. Like I'm like, this is. I can feel everything
Them
that's going
shits
on.
are clunky.
Quote
Yeah.
unquote, them shits are clunky.
Yeah, but also like I'm clunky. Like I am clumsy and it comes out clunky. Like I'm just like I just feel like this like fucking.
But the new ones are fire.
Yeah, the new ones are great, and so they like have like an aluminum and a composite one, and they're great. They're like stiff where you need them to be, and then soft where you need them to be. Like to
Woman
a T.
specific?
No, they're actually gender neutral.
That's cool.
Yeah, they make women specific bindings, but these ones are gender neutral.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then, so I like the composite version. I like the C8s. I like the square footbeds better than the aluminum ones. The aluminum ones are a little bit narrower, I want to say. And I really like them. And also like the footprint of the binding on the board, I found with the C versions of them have like helped me, I guess, with presses and stuff. It's like a little bit wider of a footbed, so you kind of have like a better point. a tip on that, I say like when I set up a board, I'll like trace my binding. I know a lot of people do that, or like I'll give it a little line. So like for whatever reason it moves or you get disco foot or something, you can just like align the binding with the Sharpie mark that you put.
Pro tip.
Yeah, trace the sides of your bindings. It really helps. The other thing, let's see. Yep, C8s, ride back talk. As far as boots go, I've been riding the Vans Farah Pros, and like they're like a stiffer version of, but they're not too stiff. They're like stiff exactly, I guess, where you need them. It's like traditional lace, love that. I don't really like do boas, but it has like an ankle bow, which I like for the lockdown.
Ankle bow is the move.
Yeah, it's the move. And like right out of the box, I've been hyped on those. So those are really dope. As far as, let's see, I think that's pretty much.
What about edges? What about edges?
Oh, I take them. I dole them.
Round doggers?
Yeah.
True
Yeah.
street
Forward
dog.
lean?
No.
You see,
Do you?
My park board, yes. Street board, no. Backcountry board,
Most
yes.
bindings ship with about 3 degrees of forward lean stock.
That's a fun little fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do. I haven't messed around with
Giving
it.
the user a little forward lean if they want it or not.
Yeah.
So unless you take off the adjuster, you're going to get 3 degrees.
I know people who do that. I leave mine on, so I guess I'm at 3 degrees. So yeah, I guess I'd go forward lean 3 degrees on them.
I don't know about ride bindings, but I'm pretty sure most companies do that.
You know, maybe I'll try it. I'll give it a go. I haven't really dabbled with that much, but
I think you just get, honestly,
More
whatever
for
your
turning.
setup is, you just get used to whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think, the little forward lean helps going edge to edge a lot.
Okay.
But the thing that scares me mentally is the front board and the kink, because you're just, your heels are kind of dug in a little bit more.
Yeah, it's going to dig your edge in naturally.
we don't like that.
The
We don't
street
like
dogs.
that. Oh god, that makes me want to just clench my mouth. I'm just like, god damn it.
Catch that edge and just aggressive bail.
Yeah, no, we don't like that.
You know what? I love that you're still in the streets, because we were talking about this at the skate park today, I think.
Yeah.
But how people, or no, maybe I heard you say this on another podcast, but you were talking about how the backcountry is where people graduate to from the streets.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Like, you don't got to turn your back on the streets. And I'll let you talk, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to give a Justin Meyer quote
Okay.
after you see your spiel.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that, because more now than ever, I'm like, I just want to ride my snowboard, and like whether that be like in the backcountry or in the streets or whatever. But like I'm having way more, like this summer, for example, when I was snowboarding, I hit maybe 4 rails, which I was just like, oh, what are you doing, Joe? Like, come on, check back in with your profession. Like, let's go back to what you do. But at the same time, I love it all, and I want to get good at all avenues of it. But yeah, I do. There is a thing where people are like, I mean, it's a joke. Even with people who are in the backcountry, they're like, oh, when are you going to come to the backcountry? You know, and it's like, when I want, I guess is the answer, when I want.
Did
And
you hit a jump last year?
yeah, I did hit a jump
Into
actually.
powder?
Yeah, side jump at Brighton. It was probably my first powder jump. It was so fun. And that's the thing, like I want to do that this year a lot more, but I'm not like clocking in heli hours instead of going on a street trip, I guess. But I want to ride terrain, and I want to ride the mountain, and I just think it looks so cool and it looks fun, and I have like a new appreciation for it for sure, because it's also like what goes into that is very hard, and it is a lot of fucking work, and that just looks like, you know, you're just like going down the mountain to nice music. But like it's a lot more than that, and I admire it a lot. But yeah, going back, I don't see myself, I like jibbing, and I think it's like fun and technical and like weird and like very personalized, if you will. But I appreciate powder and backcountry riding, and you know, one day, when my knees completely give out, that's probably where I'll be.
Switch to that POW.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go ahead and this is going to infuriate a lot of people, and I love it.
Yep.
But I'm going to quote Justin Meyer on one of my favorite quotes he's ever said. I don't remember where we were, but we were in the backcountry, and he just goes, "Oh, the backcountry, where old pros go to die."
I mean, you want then answer me this. This is where I get confused.
If you're filming VG movies, that's true.
Yeah. Never mind. I don't even know if I want to say it.
Say it. Say it. If you're thinking it,
This
say
is
it.
the place to say what you want to say.
Snowboarders go to die in the backcountry, yet they're in fact flourishing in all other aspects of their life, it seems.
True.
And that's why I maybe use the term graduate, because it's like, but you know, some of I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's interesting to me because I'm like, I guess this is a question for like viewers or something, but like, what do people want to see?
Well, one thing you got to think
like,
about.
Who's watching? Like,
there's
I
way
watch
more
it,
people shredding the mountain than shredding the streets.
Totally, and
so
I
at the end
I
of the
agree
day,
that.
you know,
but that goes into. I guess contests or something, like people are like interested in that. Like, I don't know. When I think of this is as a kid, when I'm watching snowboarding or something on TV or X Games or whatever, right? I'm sitting at Islands. I don't know if you guys ever been to an Island. It's like the burger place. You know what I'm talking about? And on TV all the time, it's like action sports, whether it be like surfing or skating, I think they had, or like biking or snowboarding. And they would have like all mountain snowboarding, and it was sick. But like my eye would go to the screen when it was like trick based or something like that. And trick based in trick based that I can like fathom, I guess, and like understand, and not like, I don't know. I mean, when I was sitting at Islands eating a burger at 13 years old, I guess I couldn't register what was going on. But it's just interesting to me, I guess you could say. And I appreciate both sides. I appreciate snowboarding as a whole, and I think it's really cool. And it feels real. Snowboarding and paddle feels really cool, and it's really nice, and it's fun. But yeah, I don't know. I think I appreciate rails, and I appreciate what goes into filming street video parts a lot. And I think I know it's not glamorous, and I like that, I think. And I think when I'm ready to do more of the all mountain stuff, I will, but I think I am capable of doing this right now, and I enjoy doing this, so I want to continue to do this until I can't really do it anymore, I guess.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Might as well do what you're best at too.
Yeah, but I also fear like by the time I go to the back, when I go there, I'm just like it's just kind of. I guess what I'm getting at is right now I want to expand my capabilities personally, because I don't want to be tied to just this person who front boards rails. Like I don't want that, and that is what I.
You just got a free
sometimes.
ride more on POW days.
Yeah.
Make sure you carve out that time.
Yeah.
If you look at a person who's done a great job evolving, and he's been on this podcast, but you talk about Danny Davis, right?
Yeah.
And he's like going on a split board trip before X Games.
Yeah.
Why? Because
Did he say he wanted to come on a rail trip with us?
Yeah, he's been talking about that, I heard, yeah.
And it's like, why? Because it keeps it refreshing
Yeah,
and fun.
it's
And you're like,
exciting.
and that's what happens. You're going year 8 of, down bars and street rails, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I want to try to reinvent myself
catch
and
some
do
air.
something.
Yeah.
So, but
Totally.
if you're,
Catching some air, I've been wanting to do so bad. That's like what I want to do now.
That's dope.
It's
Catching
so
air kicks
sick.
ass.
It's so sick, and it feels so good. I'm so bad at it, and I think that's why I like it, because I'm like, this is fucking hard.
Yeah, a
That's
challenge,
cool.
a new challenge for you.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you in the air in
Thank
the
you.
future, in
Thank
the near
you.
future.
So, I think we're about to wrap this thing up.
I think so.
Do you want to thank? You got some dope sponsors. You want to shout them out? You want to say thank you to anybody?
Yeah, I mean, thank you to every single one of my sponsors and the people who support me. But first and foremost, I want to thank you two for like putting this on. Seriously, like I feel like it has been such a refreshing thing within snowboarding and with whatever's going on, and like inviting other people in and like having other people talk. I think is so cool, and like hearing other perspectives and asking the right questions, I think is a huge thing, or questions that give the answers that people want to hear, I think is huge. And I can honestly say that, like, listening to this podcast, I have learned, in the people that you've interviewed, I have learned so much about the other minds of other snowboarders and how relatable that is. And it's not like the questions are, you're not asking us like, oh, what's your favorite color? And you're like, I like purple because this person likes purple. You know, it's like, oh, this person deals with like mental shit too. And like they went, like, it's like, oh, like listening to Seth's, I'm like, oh, you went through that? Like I go through that all the time right now. And I think it's so important. So thank you guys for
you think you're
creating
alone,
a platform. Yeah.
but you're not.
Yeah. So the platform that you've created has helped a lot of people, and I think it's really cool, and I'm excited to see where it grows. As far as thanking sponsors and things, yes, thank you to Kind, thank you Ride, Electric, Monster, Vans, thank you guys so much, Stance. And I don't know, like, without your, like, undeniable support, I really don't know where I would be. So thank you for taking a shot on me, I guess. And to people listening, thank you guys for listening and supporting. Continue supporting, because this is a really good thing that we got going on here. So do your part if you want this to keep
Jill,
going.
that's dope.
Big inspiration. People can find you on your Instagram at Jill Perkins if you don't already follow her.
Berkey!
Give her a follow. Yeah, let's hit her with a couple of the...
Yeah, I'll upload some carpet boarding shit on there, and you can let me know what you think, I guess.
I went to a party in high school once, and we carpet boarded down the stairs, like real carpet boarding.
Into
And
a wall.
No, it was set up where you could open the front door and just launch right out.
Yeah.
Was
We got
Was this in like 1908 or what year was this?
1994.
Oh,
Hey,
94.
That's
Okay.
when I was born.
It was her birth year.
Hey. Sammy,
We could launch right outside the crib, and we fucked that house up.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked. We got
Yeah.
in big trouble.
Oops.
Sorry, Mom.
oops.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for listening, watching. We will see you next week. Over and out from the bomb hole.
Boom.